Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Tabletop Notch. Thank you so much for joining us today. He's trying out something new.
Yes. We're coming out of the womb ready to go.
Wow, that was...
I was just going to let it...
I just want to be honest with the viewers.
Chapter 31.
Yes.
Hopefully that wasn't your first exposure to our stream. We're going to be diving back in. Welcome back, Leah.
Yay, welcome back.
We'll catch up with her. We're actually going to do a little sort of choose your own adventure solo thing real quick after we get back from the intro, which we're going to roll in a second. Does anybody have any thoughts? Things they need to share?
Am I leaving?
No, you're staying.
No. It's not that special.
Not a solo.
Anything else, or should we roll that intro?
Roll.
Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I thought you were about to say,
That's what I was doing,
Roll
like,
for intro.
call response
Roll for
kind
intro.
of thing. Oh, it's ruined.
Roll.
That.
Intro!
Welcome back. All right, before we dive into the intro, we're going to do a little something different. Beezaura, having traveled with the Halfling Cinnaberg through the Kruthic shafts to come out on the other side and open up the gate for the rest of the party, we're going to do a little choose your own adventure. It's sort of you get 2 choices, and there's 5 different things. We're going to go through them. Don't let the group influence you.
Don't look at me.
So do what Beezaura wants to do. Don't look people and try and figure out what they want.
Yeah, we have poker faces all the time.
Definitely.
Could ever.
Definitely not looking
like I
for
said, there's a
Erland
couple
for any
dice that you
advice.
have that you might need to use. So, here's the thing. First one. You're approaching the Kruthic shafts, and there's a lone black line barbarian patrolling on horseback. He hasn't yet been alerted to your presence. Do you, A, attempt an ambush so he has no chance to spot your companions before they approach the Helmy Ridge? Or B, hide and wait for him to move on and stay focused on getting to the tunnels?
Oh, wow.
It's
golly.
It's gonna take the whole stream.
That's what I said. I was like, you sure you don't want to do this beforehand? Because this is like...
It's alright, go with your gut.
Okay. Well, who knows how long he's going to be there, right? We don't know. He's just standing there?
He's like on horseback. It's like patrolling
Patrolling.
in the general area of where you're trying to get to, but you can wait for him to leave.
Well, let's ambush him.
Ambush him. Roll me a d8.
D8.
Yep.
What if she dies on a choose your own adventure?
It's gonna be a real short
See ya.
save.
5.
5. The ambush is successful.
Yeah.
You take some minor injuries in the scuffle, but you find a bit of gold in his possession that you're able to take. You take 2 damage
Oh.
and gain 6 gold.
Worth.
This is like gambling.
Definitely worth it.
I'll spend 2 HP.
Oh, coin purse. Sorry.
Sorry. You're ready.
6 gold?
6 gold. Damn.
Okay.
When maneuvering through the tunnels, you get to a pair of openings headed in the same direction. One of them larger and one of them smaller. Cinnaberg says that both of them are headed the same way. Do you, A, take the larger tunnel, which should help you make better time, but has a higher chance of running into enemies, creatures, or B, take the smaller tunnel, which is difficult to maneuver inside but provides better cover?
I'm going to take the smaller one.
Roll me a d8.
2.
The tunnel gets so small that you're forced to crawl, and you get stuck at one point,
Oh, gosh.
forcing Cinnaberg to help dig you out. This tires you, and you have disadvantage on dexterity and strength saving throws until your next short or long rest. So take a note of that.
Real consequences.
Strength? Jeez, that's her.
Advantage for... You said...
Disadvantage on strength or dexterity saving throws only, not like abilities, just saving throws.
Your color comic.
Sorry.
So we're good.
We're good.
It's not the worst. Okay.
As you're traveling through, you find the remains of an old Kruthic nest in one of the tunnels. It's abandoned, but Cinnaberg cuts himself badly on a jagged spine that was sticking up while trying to get around it. Do you A, attempt to bandage the wound normally, preserving your limited resources, or offer him a healing potion for quicker and more guaranteed recovery?
I'm going to try to bandage that.
Roll a
Sorry,
d20,
buddy.
make a medicine check.
Come on, medicine. Ooh, it's okay. Ooh, it's a 6.
6. You do a decent job bandaging the wound, but there's still a good bit of pain. Cinnaberg walks with a slight limp, and it's slowing down your progress. You enter into a larger chamber, where some young Kruthics are feeding on what looks to be a black lion barbarian corpse.
Oh my god.
Do you attempt to sneak by unnoticed, not disturbing the young Kruthics, or attack the creatures, hoping that there might be valuables left on the black lion?
How many are there?
4. But they're young Kruthics. They're small.
How dangerous are... Can I ask that?
I mean, not life-threatening. You might take some damage, as you might anticipate. It would be a little scuffle. They're not like...
Like if I try to get by them or something like that?
Yeah, I mean...
Or like fight them, you mean?
Yeah, so you're sneaking by them, or you're ambushing them so you can try and pick around on the dead body.
I'm just going to try to sneak by.
Roll me a d8.
Oh, God. I'm not gonna make
I don't
it.
know what that means.
It's a 2.
2.
I don't know what that means.
The shifting of some loose stone attracts the attention of the Kruthiks, forcing you to fight them. It sounds like one of them might have called for help, so you're not there to stick around to loot the body. You go off quickly.
Okay.
You take 3 damage,
not bad.
and you don't acquire any loot from the body because you can't stick around to take it.
Okay. Still at 29.
That's why gambling is bad.
You exit the Kruthik shafts with Cinnaberg's guidance, and you find the door to the mines that you've been tasked with opening from the outside. Cinnaberg, having completed his business, starts to head back into the tunnels, to head back to the entrance. But you notice that the door looks like it's operated by kind of a large wheel with a heavy chain. You kind of have to pull it, and it lifts the gate. Do you, A, try to convince Cinnaberg to help you open the door before he heads back, or B, understanding that Cinnaberg doesn't have any further obligation to you, deal with the wheel yourself?
I'm gonna ask him to help me.
Roll the d8.
The 8?
Yep.
Worst he could say is no.
He stabs you.
Heck! 2!
Cinnaberg declines, explaining that he was under strict orders to do exactly what was asked of him and nothing more. You're forced to deal with the wheel yourself.
Okay.
You suffer 1 point of exhaustion,
Oof.
which gives you disadvantage on ability checks until your next short or long rest.
Jeez
Wow.
Louise.
She had a tough time too.
On all ability?
Yes, so any skill checks. Not attack rolls, but skill checks. Any skill checks.
Wow.
And that's the end of it. You did choose enough of the faster options to get through quicker to earn 1 inspiration. And that's it.
Whoa!
So you get 1 reroll on any check that you want.
Which is good because you'll need it.
Because you have a lot of disadvantages. But it can be anything. Attack rolls,
Well,
skill
it meant to be a
checks.
burn.
That's use it wisely.
Yes. Okay, so...
Good job,
So the
BZ.
second
Thanks.
PC inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 30 sods.
You had one, right?
I had one.
From killing,
I
from
don't remember
strangling
where
Michael
it came
Ainsley?
from.
From,
Yes.
You know, you guys just don't inspire
It's
me.
it's a reroll on any
jeez.
Ability.
Any check,
Ability
any
check.
check,
Oh, any
any
check.
check at all.
Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just a reroll.
Yeah, it's just a
Attack
reroll.
roll, ability check, saving throw, anything you want.
Don't waste it.
Savor it.
Wait for an important one.
All right.
It's like the best piece of chocolate ever.
In chapter 30, Mine for the Taking. Safira detoured briefly to recover her missing backpack, which had attracted the attention of an owlbear wandering through the forest. Not looking to pick a fight at this moment in time, Safira weighed her options, during which time the owlbear rummaged through her things, breaking a few items in the process. Safira snuck over to a nearby wasp's nest and rolled it in the owlbear's direction, causing her to endure a few painful stings, but ultimately proving successful in scaring off the animal, allowing her to access what remained of her belongings. Riding quickly and following Jillian's markers in the hills of Raventhorn, Safira caught back up with the party just as they were approaching Helmy Ridge. At first it seemed our guide Wangami had not yet arrived, but it turned out that a bit of shape-shifting magic was keeping him hidden from any Blackline barbarians that might be wandering by. After some introductions, we headed into the mines, walking our horses through the narrow corridors and using Graven's light spell to allow us to see in the darkness of these abandoned halls. Wangami warned us that there might be creatures lurking in the shadows, and while that proved to be true, his suggestions for how to avoid provoking these creatures seemed questionable at best.
Shit.
And we found ourselves fighting basilisks and fire newts at a time when we'd rather slip by unnoticed.
Very stressful.
Tensions reached an all-time high when Safira stabbed Wangami in retaliation for what she perceived as intent to put us in harm's way. And Jillian drew her bow on Graven as he moved to intimidate the suspicious dwarf. In this moment, he confessed that he had ulterior motives for taking on this escort mission, that his parents had been kidnapped by Black Lions, and the only way to see them released was to clear out these mines so they'd be safe for us to use or settle in, for them to use or settle in. We told Wangami that one more misstep would cost him his life, but he acknowledged privately that he was still the only one that knew the way through the mines, so we proceeded with caution, and the dwarf leading the way to bear the brunt of any surprise attacks. He claimed that there were no more hostile creatures that he knew of, but there was one more potential roadblock. The shortest way to the exit meant passing by a small camp of bandits or travelers that he'd overheard in the days prior. To avoid another altercation, we elected to send Graven in with Wangami disguised as a giant spider, hoping to scare them into vacating the premises. The group was resistant, disclosing that they'd discovered valuable mithril veins in the mines. But Graven convinced them that the threat of a Black Lion ambush was more than they could handle, and they agreed to pack their things and go. We worked our way to the ventilation shafts, where our intended exit was already clear, a promising sign that Beezaura and Cinnaberg had done their part in opening it from the outside. And as we headed for the light and a breath of fresh air, we asked ourselves, what was the extent of Wangabi's deception in our prolonged excursion through the mines? Had the halflings run into any trouble in the Kruthic shafts? And with one greater healing potion and 3 ensnaring arrows down in one afternoon, did it suddenly feel like we packed a little light for the trip? We find out now in chapter 31, A Peek Beneath the Veil.
That was rude.
Yeah.
You take a deep breath. And as you follow the light, the air is not only fresh, it has a sort of crispness and a steady draft that differentiates it from the Raventhorn lowlands. The horses moving alongside you seem to pick up their pace ever so slightly, sensing an end to the sort of confines of the mine's interior. And one of them unwittingly kicks a small wooden stool that bounces hard off of a wall of rock, kind of cook. Shadows cast by the sun leaking in highlight the location of more of these stools as you walk forward, perhaps a dozen or so lined up, where overworked miners would rest their feet and cleanse their lungs when the ventilation shafts opened up. You reach the end of this hall, and the crunching beneath your feet softens a bit. Faded yellow and green mountain grasses just sort of creeping in past the large circular opening. And it looks like there's a heavy-duty kind of iron crossbar with a number of rectangular protrusions sunken into the wall, and a partially obscured rounded door with matching divots. It looks like it has like a gear-like appearance, so some kind of levers moved, and it moves the door, sort of this sort of gear shaft. And though you're certain that Jillian has made a mental note of the questionable reliability of the dwarf Wangami, you can sense her renewed focus on the next leg of the journey. If one wishes to pay a visit to these parts of the Chaki Mountains and have a chance at making it more than just a one-way trip, they do best not to let their missteps consume them. And Jillian knows this. And you begin to approach the exit. And Jillian holds up a hand, closes into a fist. Now, while I'd love to believe that everything has gone perfectly according to plan, it is possible that someone or something has opened the gate ahead of Beezaura and Cinnaberg, so keep your wits about you, yes?
Cautious, yes.
Well, we're stopped here. Do I see any mithril veins? Do I see any like loose mithril? Do I?
Make an investigation check.
Tasty myth.
Ambitious boy.
17.
Nothing that looks like a here. Again, you pass through some of those larger strip pits and stuff. That might have been a better spot to look for something like that, but you don't see anything here.
Hearing Jillian say that, I'm gonna get my bow out
Sure.
and have it
Yeah.
ready.
And Jillian
for
doesn't
the
draw
horse.
her weapon, but she sees you do that, and she kind of has it at the ready, just in case.
Yeah, I'll
She's
have my
guiding
crystal
one of the
out.
horses.
I guess I still have the mace, but I'll take the light away.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you do it, like, the walls kind of fade, but the light coming in is enough to sort of guide you forward.
Now that I'm done snooping, I'll pull my quarterstaff.
Sure. Everybody give me stealth checks, Jillian included.
Me too.
Do we have I mean,
yeah, baby.
I feel like I'm...
19.
What do I do?
That's like that's literally like right in the center.
Oh, what if I...
11s, Zoe.
Oh,
11.
you tapped it on the right side there, buddy.
Sorry, I was... 16.
You guys move forward,
So stealth.
slowly, cautiously, and it begins to open up a little bit. And you pass into the open air and marvel at the expanse of the mountains unfolding around you. A thin, barely discernible path kind of weaves up, down, left, and right until it disappears behind one of the many peaks that make up the zigzag kind of horizon stretching out before you. It's quiet. You look around, and you hear a trickling of pebbles, scattering of rocks.
Up behind us?
Yep.
Do it.
You turn around.
Yeah, turn to look.
And you look up to find a little sort of plateau, like the rock slides up, and then there's a little plateau. And Beezaura is sitting there. She appears to be
Don't
using a rag to polish the silver on her flail. She meets your eyes with a kind of flick of the head, and an ease about her that seems to say, I've been waiting. I take it that things went relatively smoothly with Cinnaberg in the Kruthic shafts.
No permanent damage.
Anything to report? Anything you found of note?
Not really, actually. Couple side steps here and there, but we made out all right.
Didn't draw anyone's attention.
Don't think so.
That's what I like to hear.
And where's your partner?
Already went back. His job was done. Didn't even stay long enough to help me open the door.
Well, his orders are his orders, I suppose. No further obligations.
No.
It took us a bit longer to get through the mines than we'd hoped, but we've arrived intact, and from this point forward, we'd be calling that a success.
Wonderful. No troubles.
Well, I guess if you ever happen to meet Wengami again, maybe just...
Don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. Absolutely not a word.
That's what...
Do the opposite of what he suggests, generally, yes.
Yeah.
Noted. I'm glad I got my guide and not yours.
Well, he did get us through the mines, so that's something. And you look over to Graven, and he's beat up pretty good. He's got a number of sort of scrapes, scars, bruises.
You okay?
Wiping like soot and stuff off of my
No.
shield.
No permanent damage, like you said.
No permanent damage.
Now, I don't think we want to remain near the mines for any extended period of time with all the apparent activity drawing toward it. So I'll quickly outline our next leg, and then we'll get moving, yes?
Yeah.
Right, go ahead.
Hopefully we'll find a spot to catch our breath that has decent sight lines and a comfortable rock. Take a breather at some point. We're going to follow, and she sort of points off in sort of that winding, and there isn't really a path, but there's an area of the ground that stays relatively level, and she's kind of pointing down that way. We're going to follow this sort of natural path for a couple of hours in a northerly direction. The cliffs around us will get steeper, and despite rising in elevation, the walls will seem to close in on us, as if we've dropped into a ravine. Now, the flat ground at the base of this range is the only way forward from here that I know of that's traversable on horseback, and it's too early to switch to foot travel. At the end of this path, there's a massive drop-off, a deep gorge, at least 300 feet across to the other side. And there's a bridge there. A bridge that's watched over by a hermit called Josco. It should be, and you can see her smile and almost chuckle a little to herself. It should be an interesting experience. Josco is a former operative. Tales of his antics during that time are legendary. And now he's isolated himself in the mountains. He prefers the solitude.
Humorous antics, I take it, by your...
Yes, there's quite a few tales of old Josco Tibbets.
Tibbets.
Anything that we should prepare ourselves for?
I don't think so. I don't think he's likely to be hostile. I have no reason to believe that Josco won't allow us across. I understand that he accepts some kind of toll for passage, but I think it's less about the money and more about providing a service, so he'll otherwise be left alone. I know that beyond the Black Lions, there's hunters, prospectors, brave ones who come into the mountains. They've been allowed to use the bridge as far as I know, so can't imagine there will be any problems.
Will we be having to answer any kind of questions about our intentions as we are traveling?
I honestly doubt it.
Sounds
might-
like he just wants people to get in and away.
He might ask something casually, but you're under no obligation to respond truthfully.
Okay.
And he knows you well.
Yes, we had some overlapping years in our service.
All right.
I don't think that Josco bears any bitterness for our working relationship, if that's what you're worried about.
Just
On the contrary, while most operatives found his hijinks sort of juvenile and disruptive, I thought them rather endearing for the most part. It helped that he also was a very good operative.
Okay.
Any
No.
questions?
After the bridge, what happens?
After the bridge, we'll talk about what happens after the bridge. Like I said, One leg at a time.
Focus.
All right,
Right.
well, lead the way, Jillian.
All right. She takes her horse, begins to walk a little bit. Perception checks for people moving through. Julian's going to be ahead in the front. Who's going to be sort of... What's our marching order here?
I'll take up the rear.
I'm gonna be behind her.
Okay, right behind.
I think I was kind of up.
Also, you're going to be on someone's horse. We're
Oh.
one horse short for everyone to be on, because you walked with Cinnabar.
Right, I did. So whoever is close up front, I'll be.
Okay.
Who's going up?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
I
second.
think I was right behind Jillian.
Sure.
'cause she
So,
told
Safira
us
and
to get-
Beezaura sharing a horse?
I'll be second back.
I guess
In the middle.
I need to stop.
I have an 8 perception.
3.
11.
13.
18.
Wait, perception? Yeah, 11.
So you guys start to ride, and the first sort of horses move, and the path, it's not getting thinner, but the flat portion of the path is not terribly wide. You guys are, for the most part, just going single file. And you start to...
Keep my eyes.
Yeah, you
kind
keep
of
your eyes.
upwards.
And as everyone's sort of moving along, and Graven's
Yeah.
sort of taking up the rear, a little bit back, there's a little bit, again,
Do I notice anything?
some pebbles moving. So far, you've just seen a little bit of sand and rocks kind of coming down.
I'm gonna kind of quietly movement up above us. Pebbles coming down.
And Jillian again holds her hand in the trip. You guys all kind of stop for a second.
Put my hand on my flail.
Jillian kind of peers around. We're not alone. Ready yourselves quietly. And she takes.
Do you hear anything?
There's a rumbling. And you can hear sort of a growing rumble. A little
Animal
bit.
or mechanical? What is it?
Sounds like it's coming from the ground. Beezaura, make a perception check with advantage.
Oh, with advantage?
Yes, even though.
I'm not using that one anymore.
Oh boy.
Don't.
Oh, thank you. 15.
15. So as you were passing through with Cinnabar through the tunnels, you heard some sounds like this right before some of the Kruthiks sort of emerged from the shafts.
Got
sort of
it.
this scratching, burrowing. They kind of like dig through, they kind of crack rock, and then they dig it out of their way, and then they crack it again, and they dig it out of
Okay.
their way. So like they're tunneling almost.
And that's what we're hearing?
That's kind of what it sounds like, yeah.
Jillian,
Yes?
it sounds like the Kruthiks.
All right.
How dangerous are they?
They're not the worst, but
In
not
lot
the
of
best.
numbers, they can be. She's sort of checking her out.
Is it possible that they're not aware of our presence and they're just traveling through?
I think the horses might be heavy. They might be alerting them to their presence, stomping on the ground. Everyone dismount quietly. She sort of gets up. Everybody make stealth checks.
Yeah. You saw that? I was hoping.
And I do it with disadvantage, right?
Man, I am nailing stealth. 19!
Dirty 20.
12. So sad. I'm rolling so
Do I
bad.
add stuff?
That's a success.
Yeah, you still add.
Yeah, you still
Go
add
off
a
of that.
modifier.
9.
11.
So you guys all start to dismount, and as you do, you hit the ground, and the sort of uneven ground causes a bit of like crunching. You can hear it in a couple places. And it's quiet for a moment. And then there's sort of and then this punching through the rock, this sort of... I need dexterity saving throws for the two people in the back, which is Graven and so the rock punches out and this claw kind of emerges from the rock, and pieces of the rock go flying.
19.
19.
Natural 20.
There we go.
You save it. You save.
Half damage, one bludgeoning damage.
Damn it.
Kind of
For me!
go flying, and some pieces of the rock are kind of pelting you, and you see emerging from this hole one of these large adult Kruthiks.
Oh shit.
And in another spot, another punch through the rock, and another person coming out the hole. Everybody make initiative rolls.
Person?
Sorry, creature.
A human being just comes
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
Initiative rolls.
You think?
Oh my god.
Initiative.
I had to roll twice.
Oh, you have disadvantage on that too?
Oh no.
No.
Okay. That was a
Remember
9.
what it was?
That's not a, yeah.
Oof.
What do these creatures look like?
They're sort of,
So 11.
scorpion-esque without the tail. They have like big front pincers.
11 BZ.
And they don't have like a long tail, but they kind of have big, like, sharp teeth. and they're sort of insect-like but large. I mean, the adults definitely very large.
Like horse-sized adults, or
Not that big, like lion size, like a large.
Lion?
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right.
lions smaller than horses?
Yes.
Yeah.
By
Lions are definitely
considerable
smaller
amount.
Do they
than
not have
horses.
zoos in Canada? You've never seen a lion?
Have you never seen a horse?
They're smaller, but I mean they're more ferocious, but they're
Never next to
definitely-
each other.
They're more ferocious, but they're not as
Never
tall.
for comparison.
But have you ever ridden?
All right. So this is where you came out lines here. Here's everybody's
Oh,
horses.
I hope everyone in chat's
no.
making fun of you right now.
Well, that is sort of horses kind of.
Horses.
Oh my god, look at them.
Oh, and we can sit
We
on
can
them.
sit on them.
Dude, that's dope.
You want one? You want to play?
Most people
don't have
dismounted
a
already.
Yeah.
So like next to the horse, next to the
Nobody rode well except for
We
me.
got the gray one.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
I got the
Beezaura
chestnut
was
brown.
sharing with Safira, so you
Nope,
Alright,
never
what
mind.
else do
You
we
were
got
sharing,
here?
so.
Safira, what do you got?
And
I get half
Jill.
one.
Yum.
You're not hussy horse.
Give it back in.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Waiting
was
on
quick.
you, Matt.
I'm glad I get that action in. I was jealous of
I
last
do
week.
love how Jillian is a hairy barbarian.
She's got a big pelt.
We only have so many painted
I know,
minis.
I know.
I only have so much time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So as they're sort of bursting forth out of the rock, you can see that behind the larger ones, smaller ones are clamoring to crawl out of the hole. And as this is happening, Jillian sort of points and she says, "We need to close those holes." As she points to the holes that have been made.
By them.
Yes, to keep the smaller
small
ones
one, the
from,
babies
from
from
getting
coming.
out. So,
And those are going to be marked?
Yep.
The holes? Okay.
so there's one there.
Do you need to just like put boulders in front of them?
Anything that you can do to close
As
them.
creative as
Have a
you can
horse block it
be.
with its butt.
So the big ones just came out.
Gonna get eaten.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Now a lion's butt.
That thing.
Alright, everyone. That's a lot.
Talk about
The mental images
There's
are
no-
Stop.
There's
the
no
mental
levels
images are
of-
taking off right now.
Okay, so there's no elevation that we're doing
Elevation,
except for this and this. Those little things, those are kind of like boulders, like big rocks that you could stand on top
and then
of.
these are
or,
literally the walls of this like cavern here.
this side and this side of the walls of this sort of way. But this
The
was back where you
pathway.
came.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Are those things movable? Or are they just really heavy?
Multiple people, they're big boulders. Multiple people might be able to move them.
Okay.
Jillian got a 10.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do young Kruthix and adult Kruthix. Adult Kruthix got 14,
Spelling was wrong.
and young Kruthix got 3.
No one even know what's going on. Yeah, I know it.
So they're not spiders, but they're gonna look like spiders.
Oh my god.
That's why you asked where the spider minis were. I never liked those questions.
Hey, where do we keep the
Yeah, he went, you have a painted spider mini, right? And I was like,
Wait a
why?
minute.
Sorry, 14 was older.
Yeah.
The
Adult
seniors.
Krithix, yeah.
Krithix
And
senior.
the bodies are.
Damn it.
Spiders are Krithix senior.
Erland, you
Krithix
rolled so
third.
badly.
And babies were. Do they have a number? Sorry.
Yeah, they got 3.
Good.
Tied with Erland.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
no. Alright. Great. Chat, I'll put it in chat for you. Alright.
So she points to these 2 holes that are designated there. She's sort of indicating that if you don't close them, more smaller creatures will continue to
I'm sorry, it's those 2 islands that can seem to be able to be moved.
These are
Right,
like
multiple
big
people.
boulders.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
cool.
with a good oomph, it does not look like one person would be able to
Yeah,
make that.
I'm pretty strong.
You are pretty strong.
Same.
With a big oomph, maybe.
I could definitely.
So spell. Second level spell.
Big
That,
wolf?
that would
Yes.
be a full
Big wolf.
action. Like
Yes, to try and push a boulder would definitely be an action.
Got it.
Wow, that
That
would
was
have
spicy.
That was
been really salty
Hella.
moves.
Alright, for now I don't need to label the numbers. Alright, who we got?
Alright, we're starting off with Safira.
Vera. They're
So, hearing that Jillian said that we have to cover the holes, I'm gonna try to run up towards this boulder that looks
This one or
like
this
it's
one?
closest to
Okay.
this hole.
Yep.
And start like trying to press on it. And as I'm going, I want to shout, "Come on!" Like I'm gonna try to get people to come with me.
Okay. You run up, start to push. Give me an athletics check as you start to push it.
Oh, come on. It's just 3.
3. So it looks like she's struggling. Like if someone went up to try and push it with her, they'd need to give it a really good push. It looks like she's struggling to get it moving.
Cool.
It's sort of the ground kind of uneven as it is. It's hard to get it started. You know, it's hard to get it rolling to begin with. Anything else? Still a little bit of movement if you wanted to abandon
it's okay. I don't
hope.
want to abandon the.
All right.
Okay, so that's me. So I'm going to turn and look at the adult Kruthix nearest here,
Yep.
towards where Safira's pushing. Oh, excuse me. And I'm going to cast Maximilian's Earthen Grasp right next to it. Let's put it. Can I have the pointer? Let's put it. I would imagine I could conceivably later on, after this Kruthix goes away and the hand is still here, maybe like punch the wall or something where this hole is
Like to try
see
and
if I
break
get
the
it to
ground?
collapse.
Maybe.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna put the hand there.
So the hand's erupting up out of the ground. That also is definitely in the way of someone trying to push a boulder towards that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do see what you're saying. Okay, so how about you can't see it, but there's
On
a
the other
square
side.
here that's also adjacent to where the hole is, I believe, because the circle's taking
I
up
have it there.
10 feet, right?
Is that right?
Yes. So the circle's taking up 10 square feet? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Erupting out of the
So
rock.
she's going to, let's see if I can get this. Pisarnati!
Awesome.
Very strange.
Is it a saving throw? What's the?
Yes, it is a strength saving throw, I believe.
4.
Oh, he fails. He fails hard. Okay, so he's restrained. And he takes 2d6 bludgeoning.
Wow.
He's just gonna wear a little hat. Kind of.
Wow, that's
No hat.
A bludgeoning hat.
so that was 4 damage. I know. Great, and I believe that's it. Yeah, restrained for the spell's duration.
Great.
Ah.
Is there like an escape attempt that he can make?
He can make a strength check at the start of his turn if he wants, but that's an action.
It's an action to do that. Great.
Yeah.
And you're concentrating on that?
Yes, I am. So then I'm gonna move.
Concentration. 1 second. Concentrating. Okay.
And then I'm gonna move like behind Graven and Jillian.
Okay. About 5, 10, 15, this is 20, 25, 30?
Yeah.
Here, 30?
I'm gonna go max.
Wow.
Pat the horsey on the butt as you go by.
Yeah, should
just
I
so
be
you guys-
doing,
what?
what are we doing with the horses? Should I be like taking my horse with me or something?
I mean, the horses are kind of like stomping, panicking a little bit. They'll get out of the way naturally
Poor
on their
babies.
own for the most
Okay.
part.
Like I
unless-
shouldn't be conscious and be like.
I mean,
Don't want to get run over.
you could pull it with you. Yeah, I mean,
uh,
are you doing that?
I can try, yeah.
The creatures are probably, you would know that they're intelligent enough to sort of attack the main threats, like you guys, which they're clearly attacking them. But if a horse gets in their way, they might attack it.
Yeah, right. That's why I was thinking.
Okay.
Maybe I'll.
Give me an animal handling check then.
Okay, animal.
He handled.
Not horse. Oh.
He's not coming with me.
No.
That's a 6.
6. So as you start to run, you've got the lead, but the horse is kind of bucking and it pulls it loose out of your hands, and it's kind of
Whoa.
All
it's
right.
difficult to bring it with you.
That's fine. I'm still getting back. So.
Okay.
Great. I believe that's my turn. I'm done.
Great. Who's next?
Senior Kruthix.
Senior.
Senior
Kruthix.
All right. So
Senior Frog.
this the restrained one is just going to attempt to break free of the restraint. So is it a saving throw again or a strength?
It
check?
is a strength. Yes.
Natural 20.
Okay.
So he breaks, but that takes an action.
Yeah.
Yes, that is his
Okay.
action.
A strong, angry boy.
So he sort
Great.
of like he takes his claws and he kind of digs them into the
Wait,
hand.
actually, it
to get
doesn't
himself
say
free.
specifically that it takes an action. This is the exact wording. To break out, the restrained target can make a strength check against your spell save DC. On a success, the target escapes. We've been doing it as an action.
No, can use its action to make a strength check. Yeah.
Mine doesn't say that, but okay,
Oh, mine
cool.
does. To break out
Great.
the restrained target and use its
Thanks,
action to make a
D&D.
strength check.
So he's gonna move that,
like an
and then it's
official
just gonna
spell
charge towards Jillian.
Oh boy.
Sort of
Oh
making.
my
She was
God.
pointing towards the tunnel, so
Graven,
it
you're
runs
right there,
towards
yeah.
her. But he cannot attack because he used his action. The other one is going to charge right towards Beezaura, seeing the
Great.
first threat,
Good.
and he's going to make a multi-attack here.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
Sorry, you got your armor. You're all set. You're good.
I have disadvantage on everything.
No, not on your armor class is always what it
no,
is. So
That's true.
great. So it's gonna
He doesn't get advantage on everything.
Right.
That
No,
would be
no.
bad.
13 to hit.
No.
And 18 to hit.
No.
No.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa.
So it's sort of like goes forward and then ching with its claws, and Beezaura kind of sidestep.
Please stand in front
great.
of everything, please.
They're done
And,
there.
and I'm gonna come right back at him. Hello.
So you can hear their like skittering legs across the rock. They're all kind of like. What's up?
I'm gonna go after him.
Okay, same guy.
I have to make 2, right?
Your attack rolls do not.
Oh
have
no, they don't.
disadvantage.
Oh yeah. Great. I forgot you said that. I'm sorry.
Yep. No, that's okay.
22.
22 hits. Roll for damage.
Some fun.
She swings her freshly polished flail.
Yeah, nice and shiny. And I think it still has that silver tip on it.
Oh yeah.
5.
5, great. So swing and sort of hits it on the side of the face. And do you want to use any superiority die or anything else?
No, we'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right.
so
Anything
after
else?
Beez-
You're moving? Stay there.
Go ahead.
You can move around it without provoking an attack of opportunity. Like you can go anywhere around it without it attacking you.
I don't want to get too close to the hole just in case they start coming out of there.
Okay.
I mean, I could just. I'll move a little that way.
This
just
way?
like no. I meant like over a little bit. Just
This way?
like yeah.
So if you move out of its range, it will get an attack.
Oh,
'Cause you can
then
like
never mind.
circle it.
Oh, okay, sure. Why not?
Yeah. So if you want.
Let's just
Just make it dizzy.
intimidate. I'm like, hey,
You can like get
I'm
close to the
small,
hole. You can get close to the
tiny.
hole in case you need to do something
Yeah.
in there.
All right, so after BZ, it's Jillian.
Jillian. So Jillian, she turns her back kind of to the creature and she reaches into one of the saddlebags.
Ooh.
And she pulls out a small black sphere that looks like a kind of little bomb.
Ooh,
She's
necromancy
crazy.
bomb.
And she holds it up. Someone needs to light this. Erland, and she tosses it. Make a dexterity check.
What?
she's nuts.
Straight dexterity?
Yep.
18.
18, great. So
Okay.
she tosses it, and it's a little heavy, but you sort of cup it as it's coming, and you grab it, and it looks like a little bomb. It's got a little fuse on the top.
Why did she think I could light it?
I think she just knows that you can move a lot. Like you can get to the
Okay.
hole. You can get all the way there. And she looks like she
Oh,
goes
light
back,
it
and
and
she's
throw it
starting
in
to
the
dig into
hole.
her bag again. But that's her action for
Okay.
the turn. So that's it.
Is she moving?
No, she's like at her horse digging into the bag.
Okay,
and
then it's
stuff.
Graven.
Am I next to her right now?
No.
Oh, thank God. Come on, Safira. Let's push this
I'm still
fucking
trying.
thing. And go right up to
Just-
it and like
Yep.
really.
Does it have a fuse on it?
Yes.
How long is the fuse?
Short. Like an inch or two.
You're gonna have to let it grow.
Great, you're giving it a push. Make an athletics check
okay.
with advantage.
Yeah.
Now that the two of you are pushing.
Shoulder it. Okay, athletics with advantage.
Yep.
Come on.
This is my fucking jam. Here we go.
Come on.
18.
18. Great. So the two of you start to get it moving. So it starts to move. You kind of push it along.
Oh, yeah.
Only one square.
No, you can move it a little further. You can kind of get it. You can
Like,
get it so it's not
kind of-
fully covered, but it's
right.
almost there.
Got
Yeah,
it.
I got
Cool, cool.
So it looks like someone else is going to need to give it one more good push to get it sort of.
Well, I will. I can't
That
say
was an
spells or
action,
anything,
yeah.
so I'm
Do
gonna
you have a
stay right
bonus
here.
action or anything like
Just take a deep breath, like.
You see Graven kind of
Cover me.
to the hole. It's like a little uphill, so now you're like.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Erland.
Yeah, alright. So,
Do it.
Kind of the pointy thing?
Do it.
Okay, can I be holding the bomb and my quarterstaff, or do I need to choose?
Well, you can one-handed quarterstaff.
Yeah, but so I can do
Yeah.
this? Great. Okay. So, how far can I get with 40 feet if I want to go around this guy without touching him in this direction?
35, like there.
40.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So then...
That is touching him. This
No,
one-
I would like to not be
You
touching
check
him.
them out
So
40,
there. So then 5, 10, 15...
You can go diagonal, so that would be 5.
5, 10, 15...
It's 20 feet to the. This corner can reach the hole.
Okay. 20 feet to the hole. Okay, so
Because you can go diagonal.
and if I'm on that corner, that other Kruvik is not engaged with me, correct? The baby one.
If you're on the corner, no, it would not be touching.
Yeah, like
you, yes.
right there,
Okay,
right?
cool.
It will take an action of some kind to light it. Yeah.
Oh, but I don't have
just
anything.
you're
I don't
aware.
have anything to light.
You have like a tinderbox.
Oh, I do have a
Yeah, you just have
tinderbox.
to kind of quickly. But it would take an action to do so.
Can you toss that?
You can toss it, but
Okay.
it would still take an action to light
It's
it
like a
either
batting.
way.
Hold on here.
And if you miss the toss,
Hold the.
Yes, sir.
All right, hold.
Flank
please.
it off of this thing's
Hold.
butt. Tink. Right into Beezaura's little satchel.
that's a natural one.
Okay.
I use the fire breathing just to light it.
Any kind of
Throw it past Beezaura. Beezaura can light it out.
20 gets me to there.
Oh my god.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I am going. So Erland's gonna. He catches it, starts to make a beeline around the Kruvik, using my action to light it. So light it.
So you kind of slide to one knee, take it out, and you get.
and I'm gonna use Step of the Wind. I'm gonna use a key point as a dash action.
Nice.
I'm gonna move 20 feet, sort of slide, toss it in.
Okay.
Can I toss it in without using
You
iron?
can
Like,
toss
leave
it. Yeah, you can drop it. Yep, without.
There you
Toss
go.
it in and then like roll back 20 feet for the rest of my dash.
Wow.
So
Beezaura's right next to it.
tosses
I know.
it in and then reverses and heads back out.
Now you found your
And the small crew that kind of out, he kind of like watches it roll back and then looks back out.
And that's my turn.
Cool. So that's gonna blow at the end of the round,
Which was after the baby.
which is after the small. So the small ones, in addition to moving this one's gonna crawl out here.
Oh,
Okay.
But those ones, if that one stays there, will take damage from the explosion.
Yeah, that's right.
Great. So the two that were already on the map, this one's gonna move to Beezaura. This one's gonna move to Graven.
great. Now I have these two things.
Oh man,
Right.
Safira wasn't on the boulder with me still?
No,
Pushed it away from her.
Yeah, you gave it a good shove.
She's
Let
on
me
one side
let
and
me
I
take
blow
care.
past her. She's just like...
I was trying to help.
Okay, so Beezaura, this one gets advantage because they have pack tactics because there's another creature
Great.
within range.
Good. I'm glad I moved.
22 to hit.
I'm that one definitely
Okay.
doesn't.
Right.
I'm glad I moved forward.
6 piercing damage.
You have 97 health.
We'll never know what
So that just happened.
Still intact.
Oh wow!
Oh, wait,
Wow.
what is?
That's an impressive.
Five gold stars.
Is it?
And then this one just gets a straight attack. Safira 13.
Here, I might be able to poke it
Oh, I
towards
got
you.
it.
Hold on, ready?
No, I got
This is
monkey
great.
feet. I got monkey feet.
Oh dear. Oh god. Oh
This is
dear, oh
bad on
god.
itself.
Here, ready?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Don't we just crawl down and
What are you
get
gonna
it?
do once you clasp it with your monkey feet? Oh.
This is a show.
You guys
in
can't see
itself.
this, but this is.
Deeply
We could
impressive.
be on one of those like TV shows.
I told you I had monkey feet.
I can do everything with my
Yeah,
feet.
just one.
Just herself.
I lost myself. I lost perspective.
Dun, dun.
Okay, now where is Orba? Okay. Ooh, monkey feet. This is gonna be a challenge. Sorry, continue. I
Okay,
hope
all
I'm not
set.
taking anything
Great.
away from the
So
show.
the spiders, one of them misses Safira. Now at the end of the round, first the horses,
Yeah.
kind of in a panic, they just start to move away from the general.
Oh no.
That's good.
Yeah, we
I don't want to lose them all together.
I was
it's-
gonna push it towards them.
They're just kind of moving about the canyon,
didn't
kind of
want
this little recessed area.
Okay.
So you can hear the and then you hear the explosion go off. You can roll the. They make dexterity saving throws. 12 fail, and the other one succeed. So the red one succeeded, the white one failed. 3d6 fire damage.
Wow.
That's a lot. Come on.
8 fire damage.
8 fire damage. Great. So the explosion goes off, and one of them, who's like running away a little bit, just gets engulfed in the
Obliterated. Get him away from me.
Thank God.
And the other one, there's sort of a little bit of flame sort of protruding off of one of its antennae.
So that one took half damage?
Yes.
So 2 4.
So that one took 4 damage. Yep.
Trying to metagame.
And
I just wanna know how much it
the hole, so the rocks kind of crumble in, and the hole has been
Beautiful.
sealed.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Back to the top.
Safira.
Okay, so now that I see that he's got the boulder like somewhat over the thing, I'm gonna turn my attention to the I forgot their names, but the Kruthix that's nearest me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take a second to cast Hunter's Mark on this little buddy
As a bonus action.
as a bonus action, and I'm just gonna, with a normal arrow in my longbow, take a shot. At
That will be with disadvantage. And you haven't drawn a weapon yet,
Oh,
so
right,
you could
that's
sickle
true.
him
I
and it
could
wouldn't be with disadvantage.
I guess I've misread how far I am.
Yeah, you're
I'm
adjacent.
gonna then run up to him with my sickle.
Right, draw. Make an attack.
15 to hit.
15 hits, roll for damage.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the number on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It was 1.
I saw you just moving the
No,
die.
I know.
I was
it
like,
was,
that's
it
not
was,
how it works.
No, I know. It was 1. I just
You just pick whichever one you want, right?
2 damage.
2 damage.
Yeah.
Great. And Hunter's Mark, does that work for non-ranged attacks?
I actually am not sure.
That's not saying it does.
Whenever you hit with a weapon attack.
Yep, that's a weapon attack, so add that damage.
Yes.
It's a d6, I think.
It is. 1.
1. Alright.
Your damage rolls are rough.
I know.
It's okay.
Great. So the sickle kind of sticks into its sort of shell armor and you pull it back out. Great. Anything else?
I'm gonna hang out. 'Cause
Okay.
I wanna...
You got
I'm just gonna lean back, relax, enjoy the show.
Who's up?
It's me.
Orba.
Okay, so seeing that the little baby Kruthik is right next to my hand, I'm just going to use the hand and to kind of smack it.
Wow.
I'm going to try to restrain it, so go ahead.
So it's a
It's
strength
a
saving
strength
throw?
saving throw.
Hello, baby.
4.
Chin fails, so he takes 2d6
And is restrained.
and is restrained. Mother.
Do it.
5.
Great. The hand comes out and it grabs one of the legs as it's kind of skittering away and like pulls it back.
Wow.
Sorry, how much damage?
5.
5 damage. Great. What number was that?
That was 3. That should do it. You're optimistic.
Great. Anything else?
No, I guess not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Great.
All right,
up?
so it's
Senor
Senor Kruthix.
The senior.
Senor.
Okay, so this one
It
is
just
going to
reminds me of Senior
run,
Frog.
seeing sort of its youngs in distress, is going to run towards Graven.
Okay.
Jillian gets an
Yeah,
attack
she
of
does.
opportunity.
Oh, I do like that.
Smack
Which she misses terribly.
Wow.
So she takes out like a short blade that he has and swings wide. So this one gets advantage because it's you have another creature next to you.
Okay, what would Warding Flare do to that, giving it disadvantage? Would that just make it
It would be a
regular?
straight attack. Yep.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Whoa.
Sort of a flash of light, warding flare. So it's attack just straight. 14 to hit.
Misses!
Yes!
buddy.
Wow. Yes.
So as it's like
That's
it
cool.
sees the flash of light, gets disoriented
Nice.
a little bit. Great. And then the other one, seeing that it put its young in distress, is actually going to go towards Erland,
Oh,
which
you
gives you
Yeah.
an attack of opportunity.
Schwack
Get
it. Schwack it.
Smack.
schmuck.
16.
16 hits. Roll for damage.
Yeah.
That
That was a weird flail sound.
Oh, that was an unexpected good one. 9.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
9 damage. Great. Great. So as it's sort of skittering away, you get the flail to come down, and it kind of hits it on the back
Hate
end, and it kind of makes that sort of screeching like sound.
Love that.
Erland.
Yes.
14 to hit.
14 misses.
14 misses.
Yes.
Great. So it kind of feels the hit from Beezaura, and in doing that, it kind of swings wide over Erland's head. And that's it.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, he makes 2 attacks. I lied.
Oh,
18 to hit. He multi-attacks. Sorry.
18 does hit.
18 does hit.
Darn it.
Great.
Alright.
You take 6 piercing damage. So one goes wide and then catches you with the other one. And they're done.
Okay.
It's busy.
Is that
Can Erland yell something as he's getting hit?
Sure.
Beezaura, get the larger one.
The one that's coming after him?
Yeah. You see him.
Sure.
After him.
Yeah, now he wants my help.
that's what it sounded like in his head. It really sounded like.
You
Because that's what he sounds like.
I need some more help.
He puts
miss.
his quarterstaff under his arm.
Stop.
Tiny Tim Erland.
All of you.
Fine. All right, Erland. So I go after the big guy.
Make an attack.
I'm upset.
You can see he's crying over there. So.
He's wiping his tears.
He's a sad boy.
11.
11 misses. Great. So you go.
Sorry.
Goes away. Okay.
Jillian.
Beezy, are you done?
Unless you want to move her.
Moving, rallying, anything?
Superiority.
You can rally someone.
No. Sorry. Let me just take a look.
Subtle. Subtle.
No one's like really. I'll wait till my next one.
Okay.
Okay, after BZ, it's Jillian.
I'm not doing well at all.
Well, maybe you deserve it.
Jillian is gonna go after this one. Now that her horse, she was digging through kind of her saddlebag with the horse kind of skittered away in its fright. She's gonna go after this one with her sword that she has. 18 hits.
I like that.
Right. 5 slashing damage. So she goes up and she sort of
like that.
jams the blade in. You can hear it kind of reel, pulls it out.
Fuck yeah. Eat shit.
Die.
Great. That's it.
Okay, so after Jillian, it's Graven.
Trying to push that. Yeah, pooping that thing right down in the
Athletics
poop hole.
check. Not with advantage this time.
Oh,
Safira is
okay.
not pushing it with you.
I didn't help that much last time.
11.
11. You kind of push it, you give it a good push, but this Kruthic in the hole, it kind of smushes it a little bit, and it doesn't get all the way in the hole. You do deal it some damage.
Okay.
You sort of
that's
smush
nice.
it. Give me a d6 bludgeoning damage.
4.
4 on which target is that one? Number 3?
3.
4 damage.
It's taken a long time.
Graven's gonna pop it over.
Great. So it kind of, the boulder kind of smushes it, and you can see its claws kind of coming in a little bit, but the hole does stay open.
Damn, buddy. And he's still restrained, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's still restrained.
Alright.
That's it.
You're done?
Yep.
It's Erland.
All right. So this thing just came at me. So Erland's going for like a two-handed quarterstaff. Just gonna sort of try and jab it right in the mouth.
Sure. Give it a good jab.
No. Wow.
Natural one.
Oh, I'm so
Yikes.
sorry.
All right, fine. Next time I got you.
So he's gonna jab it in the mouth. I'm gonna miss like, pretty aggressively. He's gonna bend down, put his hand on the ground,
Oh, boy.
and the pebbles are just gonna sort of like, poof, and he's gonna use rejuvenate.
Great.
Nice.
And the earth, kind of the energy of the earth. You can see some of the soil, like, seems like it's trickling towards Erland's hand as he sort of digs it into the ground.
Okay, so
What does this do?
that makes me I heal 2 HP this
To
round.
heal it immediately. Yep.
Great. So
Let's give you a little marker.
yeah, that's one round of that. Keep track.
So yeah, is that like a concentration? Remind me how that works
It's not
again?
concentration.
Use enhanced survival. You can draw on the vitality of plant life around you. As a bonus action, you can heal 10 HP over 30 seconds. If you are in combat against a hostile creature, you must maintain contact with the earth or a living plant, non-hostile plant of your size or larger.
So if he jumps in the air,
He can break
Okay.
contact very briefly.
The healing ends if you end your turn without making an attack.
Oh.
So it sort of feeds off of his sort of adrenaline.
His aggression?
Yeah, sort of survival type,
Yeah.
fight or flight kind of thing.
Oh, right, because it's from that plant.
Yes.
So I also need to make a Constitution saving throw, which I just barely passed. That's an 11.
I think that's the first time you've died.
It's the first time I passed one.
See, you're
Hey,
getting good at this.
hey. So no dead yet.
And you can feel sort of some of the toxicity in your body sort of seep, and you control it and are able to keep it from sort of further infecting the body.
All right.
that literally means you go up one level instead of 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, go on. That's it. That's the turn.
Okay.
Great. So it's babies.
Baby, Krufix.
Babies, great. So that one's going to try and break its restraint. Natural 20.
Come on.
Restraint breaking. It is its action.
I'm gonna crush that mother.
So it not only breaks the restraints, it
Boulder
also
to
kind
the
of
head.
pulls itself out and kind of
How is this thing still alive?
squeezes it out.
Oh.
Come around. It can't attack. but
Can I
it's
get
gonna
a
come around.
pushy save?
A pushy save.
So there's nothing even left in that hole anymore.
Not
there.
yet. No.
The whole
Not
rock
yet.
is like kind of in the hole.
They're being born right now.
The hole has not been fully covered up yet.
Right.
Okay, that one that Safira went at is going to go back at Safira.
Yo.
13 to hit.
13 misses.
13 misses, great. So it kind of skitters forward, takes a swipe, skitters back. This one is going to go after Beezaura.
I had a feeling.
It has it with advantage because there's another
Good.
creature next to you. Natural 20.
Less good.
She's got natural 20 a lot.
Also, a natural 20 would kill her.
That's like one of the only things that hits her.
It
No, I
is
know.
the only thing.
Let me 4. 6. You take 9 piercing damage.
What?
So
That's
Beezaura kind of
uncalled
facing
for.
away, kind of skitters up and jams one of its claws in your back.
You're such a tyke.
Pulls it out, and you see the blood spurt kind
She's
of.
got like
Oh. Ow.
That's it. Is that the end of the round?
That is the end of the round.
Great. So the other hole was covered up, but this one more critter.
Guys, come on.
What was it? 9?
What do you guys? What do
Guys,
you
get
mean?
together.
I'm
up there.
trying to close the
tried.
hole.
Graven's like surrounded by all these crew things.
Good.
Okay.
All right, so it's starting with Safira.
Yeah.
Okay, so oh gosh, I'm not sure what to focus on. I think I'm gonna go back up to the boulder and try to push it
So you
again.
can go around this without provoking an attack of
That's
opportunity.
okay.
Make me an athletics with advantage.
Do I get?
Come
I
on.
get to
You get
advantage her.
because you're both in the process of pushing it.
15.
15, great. So the two of you, and the boulder finally catches over the lip and pushes over.
yay.
Roll me a d6 to smush this thing. It kind of squeezes its way out.
Smushing
but,
damage.
but it does smush.
3.
Right, so it takes 3 bludgeoning damage as it just gets its leg out, and one of its leg kind of gets caught, and it pulls it, and the leg comes off.
Oh, gross.
But it does continue.
Serves you right, man.
How much was it? Sorry.
3.
3. Great. Okay.
All right, so I guess that's me.
No boss.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna use my hand again, seeing that a fresh Kruthic baby has come up. I'm just gonna Smushy.
Go for it.
Go ahead
oh,
and make
no,
your
that's
strength.
a save. Yeah. 11.
That fails.
Great.
So
again,
2d6.
Smushed and restrained.
Like his hand.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
10
10.
damage.
It
Wow.
gets smushed.
That's
So
it.
it just pulled its leg out and then it gets like flattened.
By that
Yeah,
hand.
I have the hand
Sorry.
lift up and kind of like wave off the goo.
The hand like wipes it
Yeah.
on the wall.
Yeah, great.
That's actually really
On the
good.
boulder. All right.
Who's up?
That will
Or are you
be-
moving
Senor.
at
Yeah. Ooh. You know what? I'm just gonna kind of like angle myself just to get a better perspective on
Which way are you
this.
going?
I'm gonna try to get like maybe right here, just behind Jillian. Cool. All right, and that's my
Senor
turn. So
Kruthic.
seniors.
all? Great. Okay, we'll start up there. This one is gonna, now seeing its young come up to attack, is gonna go for the Beezaura. 17 to
No.
hit with its first attack. And then 17 again. Double miss. So it kind of, one claw goes in the ground, dodges, ting, 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 ting. Isn't able to bite.
Sorry.
And then this one's gonna go for Graven.
Okay.
Also surrounded.
That's fine.
It has advantage. Did you want a warding flare again?
I don't have
You're out of them. 19 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
How you doing, friend?
What are you at?
I can't tell you that.
Aww.
Okay,
I just
4
did it.
piercing damage.
4
Oh,
piercing.
alright. Oh, you can't.
And then
take
it makes a second attack. It's a multi-attack.
It's
4.
like
14 to hit.
that. Just listen now.
Great.
No,
So he
no,
gets
no.
stabbed and then he sort of pulls himself
like-
away as the next kind of claw comes in.
anti-roll.
That's it.
Breaking it down.
I'm fine for them.
Okay,
Bizarre.
so it's BZ.
Okay. I'm gonna go after the big guy.
Okay. Take his win.
18.
18 hits. Roll the
Nice.
damage.
Juicy.
Gonna go. Come on.
10.
Nice.
Go.
Give it a good swing and it kind of hits it off to the side and some of its sort of tendrils go flying.
Yeah.
You did the damage. Any other things you want to do?
I'm gonna go ahead and whatchamacallit? Action surge.
Great.
Second attack.
Swings and breath swings again.
Oh.
7.
7 misses.
Oh.
So she
All
goes
right.
swinging at
Not a reason to not try again. I
If
promise
the first you don't succeed.
You can still use your other thing.
Because I hit him the first time?
Yeah, because those
So,
aren't. Those are
I'm
bonus
gonna
actions.
do, I'm gonna rally to Graven.
Okay, great. What is the range on that?
It's anyone who can hear, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Is anyone who can hear? Yes.
I can't remember.
You can definitely hear.
Yeah. I don't think it's.
Who can see or hear you?
See you here.
See
Yeah.
or hear me,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Great.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so it is temporary hit points equal to the superiority die roll plus your charisma modifier.
Great. So a D8. Your Christmas 0.
Yes, you
Yeah.
lack the charisma.
Yeah, shocker, right?
Self-burn.
5.
Okay. So you heal 5 temporary hit points.
Chia.
That's nice.
You
Okay.
hear the rallying cry from across the little ravine.
Little goose pimples on his left side, like.
I like that.
Okay.
You like that? You like those hit points?
Feels good.
We got it. You guys are dumb.
who's
It's
up?
great. Or sorry, it's Jillian.
Jillian, great. So Jillian sort of taking stock of the battlefield. She's gonna step away
Julian.
and it's gonna make an attack,
No, she's
Julian,
gonna.
where are you going?
which hits.
You're my shield.
And immediately kills.
Okay, she takes 6 damage.
Cuts her
So
throat.
she steps away and she gets like a slash across the chest and takes a little bit of damage. But she takes out an arrow from her quiver.
Thank
She
you.
holds it up to her bow and she does like this. And as she does that, a number of sort of spectral arrows kind of appear. And she does it the other way and arrows appear that way. And she fires an arrow and
She's
anything
nuts.
hits everything but this one,
Wow.
or it's an attack against everything. So we're gonna go adult Kruthic first, misses. The young Kruthic number 3, that hits.
Okay.
The Hunter's Mark 1, that hits, and the other number 4 over there hits. Great. So it hits all the small ones
Jeez.
and does 5, 6, 7 piercing damage. So you see these arrows kind of, or force damage. You see the arrows kind of, it makes this like flurry of arrows across the battlefield.
Oh, and it's the same damage for each shot?
Yeah.
Oh,
So they
cool.
all take that. I like that. 3. This one takes the arrow.
Yes.
Nara.
Sick.
Bye.
And then that's the other 2 stay alive, but they can take the force arrow to the face. That's 4 and 2 of the remaining ones. Yeah. Great. Okay, she's done. Who's up?
I think it's me, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn around and bring my mace down on top of the small one next to me.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Smack it.
13.
13 misses.
Oh wow. One. All right then.
Bonus actions, nothing? You good?
That's it.
Moving? Great.
Okay, that means it's Erland.
I can stay in contact with the large Kruthic and get to the little baby one, yeah?
Yep.
Great, so
I'll
yeah.
also heal your top of the
Oh,
turn.
yeah,
I think
right,
it
right,
is.
right.
Heal another 2 hit points.
Okay, great.
So yes, you can run along.
So yeah, I'm gonna
Get my
strafe over there.
amulet. Temp HP.
And I'm gonna full swing at the little baby
Make an
Kruthic.
attack roll.
15 to hit.
15 hits.
Oh,
Roll the damage.
Nice.
Yeah, you barely missed.
I know.
Nice.
That does 9 bludgeoning
9,
damage.
great. You can bring
That'll do it.
the thing down and it sort of splits it
Yeah.
almost in 2 with a big swipe.
Woo!
Great, and then sort of having killed that, I guess I'm sort of facing the other way. I'm gonna try to elbow the big one in the face
Great.
with my
Make an
bonus
attack.
attack.
Oh, that's not a key point. You just get to make bonus
Just get
attacks.
to do an extra
Yeah,
one.
just another
Wow.
I want a bonus
Yeah,
attack.
7 to hit.
That misses.
Yeah.
Great. So you go for the elbow, but it's a little out of your range.
All good.
So cool.
Great. And you made an attack, so you maintain the sort of feeling of the energy flowing through you.
Great, it's bebes.
Only
Yeah.
one
Oh,
baby
it's
left.
Just one baby left. All right, this one's sort of
That just got attacked by me.
yep, just sort of panicking here in the middle. Is going to make an attack with Safira here. It's going to turn as an attack. 16 hit.
16 hits.
16 hits. You take 6 piercing damage.
Ooh, oh my
Spicy.
goodness.
Sticks you with one of its spines.
Okay.
And that's it. It's going to stay there. The tunnels are full, or the holes have been filled up, so we go back to the top of the round.
The horses okay?
Yeah, they're just kind of.
They're eating grass.
Yeah. They're having a conversation a little bit down the
Okay,
way.
so we're starting with Safira.
So I'm gonna take my sickle and just try to really whack the one that just got me.
Great.
It's like pretty close to dead.
Yeah, it's pretty smushed.
Yeah. 14 to hit.
14 hits.
Yeah.
You
Roll
just
13
missed, my
or-
I
friend.
rolled a 13.
Oh, that's the weird one.
Yep.
3 damage.
3 plus Hunter's
Plus,
Mark.
right.
Oh, sick.
Let's see. That is dope. 8.
He's
Right.
demolished.
Nothing for
Get
rolling.
smushed.
Yes.
There we are. Get
Ready
him out of
bye
here.
for the little beast.
Get him out of there.
Good.
Alright. Moving, anything?
Nice.
Can I? Would it be a bonus? What is it to change my weapon if I wanted to get out my longbow? Is it
To
action?
swap, it'll take
It's
an
an
action.
action,
Yeah.
okay.
If you already have a weapon out, it'll take it. Yeah.
Am I in swiping with my sickle range of this buddy?
Graven? Yes.
Yeah.
No, you'd have to. You want
Can
to
I
move towards it.
move a little bit towards you?
Can I shoot her at it?
Push her.
Okay,
Great.
then I'm done there.
Okay.
Okay, so it's me. So I'm gonna actually, as an action, lift the hand, or I guess scoot it through and tunnel it through
Hand is
across
really-
to between
Can you grab
Jillian
it
and
on
me.
the same turn?
Okay.
No, it's an
Triangle.
action to move it.
Strangle the guy with the
Just so it has a bit of a shield, and then I'm actually gonna move towards that black horse there, maybe like 15 feet.
15.
Cool, and then I think that's my turn.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's the
Senors.
seniors.
Big boys.
Senor. Okay. The first one is going to go after Beezaura there. No longer with advantage because the small one has been smushed. 14 to hit.
No.
So it makes 2 attacks. And 14 to hit.
No.
Great. Both of them miss. The other one's going to go for Safira, who just ran up to it, kind of spooked it a little bit. 13 to hit.
13 misses.
Misses. And 16 to hit.
16 to hit.
Oh no.
You take 6 piercing damage.
Darn.
So miss
That's a
with the
lot.
first one and then kind of sticks you, pulls its claw out. That's it.
Beezaura.
I need to end him.
Please.
11.
11 misses. Swings around. Bye. Anything else?
No.
Okay. After that, it's
You can
Jill.
still rally or anything like that. That's
No, my rally's done.
Oh, you
Rally
did that
is a
once?
superiority die.
Oh, so I can do it more than once. Oh. 'cause
You
I
just
have
can't
all
do it on the
4.
same person. It'll replace those hit points, but if you would use it on
Oh.
someone besides Graven,
Oh, that's great. I'm so sorry. And I didn't have to hit anything. So
Yeah.
I see Safira just got hit, and I do the call.
give it to him. Rallying cry. Go ahead and roll a spirit.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
the 8,
Sophia
right?
pees a little bit, but feels good.
4.
Great, you take 3 and get 4 temporary hit points.
Exactly. That is me. I'm a
It kind of echoes throughout the canyon a little bit.
Causing an avalanche, killing all
Don't.
the
Right.
I knew someone was
All
gonna
the
get it.
black
Don't
lines
give me
show.
ideas.
Okay, now I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, Jillian.
Jillian, great. So she's going to back up now. She doesn't have to make an attack of opportunity. And she's going to
Use a
regular
big
shot.
arrow.
At the 2. She misses. So she's backing up. She's going to one goes.
Get your shit together.
She's done.
All right, Graven.
Would I have any reason to believe that these dark tunnel-dwelling things would be not like things that are light?
They are
Well, that
not
happened one more
only native. You would know this. They're not only native to underground tunnels. They'll come above ground. You would
Sometimes
know.
if you ask the question in a cute way, the DM will grant you a positive response.
That's
Critics are not like
It's
uncommon
really sweet
creatures. You've
about
come
it,
into contact with them.
and I wouldn't
So
have
they
reason to believe that
really
radiant
not
damage.
like a
No,
lot,
especially.
like by the other creatures in the forest.
In that case, I'm close enough to whack at
Horses
it,
can
right?
talk.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually gonna call down some sunlight and try to put
Nice.
some sacred flame right on this dome.
Dome it.
It must succeed a dexterity saving throw.
5.
Fails.
Correct.
1d8.
Wow. That was aggressive.
Why do we miss these dice
I don't
trays
know.
all the time? They're huge.
I don't know.
Right, the light kind of comes down, and you can see it sort of get rattled by the light as it comes down.
Fuck you.
All right.
That's it.
All right, it's Erland.
All right, we're 2-handed quarterstaff swinging over top at this
Give it a
creep
go.
right in front of me.
Smack it.
10 to hit.
10 misses.
Okay. So missing it, gonna try and follow it up with like a kick, or
Right.
like a knee.
With you, it's kind of like skittering
That's
back and
super
forth
cocked.
as it's dodging out of you and Beezaura.
14 to hit.
14 misses.
And Erland, feeling useless, takes his 2 health and goes home.
Great. Are you moving at all? You're gonna say
Pretty
that?
cool.
Nah, I'm gonna sit there.
Top of the round. Anything happening?
Nope.
All right, so
You've
Safira.
successfully
Okay.
closed
Well, I'm gonna try to if I can. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna move the camera. I just nudged it.
think you're good.
Okay.
Sorry.
Like
I'm
we're
gonna
safe.
try to get underneath it if I can and stab it.
Great. Here we go.
And it's
Stab.
soft bits.
In its,
Little area?
in its squishy bits, and I'm
special
gonna
area?
miss my
I
hit.
misses.
I
You sort of go
miss.
underneath and you go for it, but its legs it like gets up on its legs, so you hit air.
Great.
Isn't Michael Jackson.
Anything else?
No.
Great.
What a bunch of useless turns in a row.
I know.
Who's up?
It's me. So I'm gonna, now that I'm next to the thing, use my action and give it a nice big slap across the face, but also try to hold it.
Big ol'
It's a save. Strength save.
Yes, strength save.
6.
That fails.
It looks like you were not happy about it the way you.
That was my celebration. That's 5 damage, and it is restrained.
Great. Comes up, and then again it kind of grabs onto one of its legs, and you can see it kind of skittering around trying to get out of its grasp.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's it. That's it.
It's
for me.
restrained?
Yep.
It is restrained.
Yeah, you can't see it
It
there.
can't move, or it's half movement.
It
Cannot
cannot. Its
move.
movement is 0. Yeah.
And it has to try to break out of it.
Yeah, everybody's
It
failed.
doesn't have to. It can attack with disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Who's up?
It is Signor's.
Great. So
Oh,
after
gosh.
like feeling the restraint on its leg, it's going to go for 2 attacks on Safira, both with disadvantage.
Oh, that's good.
5 to hit.
5 misses.
And then, ooh, that was a natural 20 and a 4. So a 7 to hit.
Saved your fucking life.
So with its leg restrained, it like reaches a sharp claw out, and Safira watches it like
Watches
swing
my
in front
entire
of her
life.
face.
Matrix the claw.
God.
That misses.
Orba needs to get to the top.
I know. Remember,
This
like,
one-
remember the days?
It's gonna go after Erland. He's watching him. He just want to take a couple swings. 5 to hit.
Misses.
And then
Give me
it's
a
multi-attack. 13 to hit.
Misses.
Great.
Good.
All right, that's it.
Whiffing here on both sides.
Okay, I'm up.
All right.
Let's go, baby.
Take a
Do
hit.
it.
Oh, that thing
do
with
it.
a stick.
It's not happening.
Give me that good number.
Lucky number 7.
Oh yeah, big misser over here.
Has anything hit in a full round?
Wow, it's been
There's
like
been a lot of
there's been
swinging.
a
I
lot
hit
of
with my
swinging.
radiant. Like,
Yes.
Okay, that's the only hit.
And you got smushed.
Yeah, that's true.
I've
I've
been
been smushing.
Look, alright.
We've been useless.
I'm gonna chill.
Yeah, just because you guys are
Rallying
not
behind
getting
us.
your
Nah,
shit
I
together.
don't want to. Let's not push the
hand is doing
superior
work.
attack too hard.
Great.
Okay, so it's BZ.
No,
Alright,
Jillian.
no,
I
no,
just
no.
lost.
Yep.
Jillian.
Jillian.
I just
You
lost.
lost
I just
the
lost
battle.
the
Great.
great battle.
Jillian sort of, you can see the reluctance in her face to sort of utilize maybe some other things that she has, but she reaches back into her quiver, and again you see that sort of purplish energy that you saw when she attacked the
got some
basilisk back in the cave.
With the
So she-
necromancer.
Yeah, she kind of
Cool.
and makes this kind of purple streak as it flies across.
Fishy hits.
18, that definitely hits. So it digs into the shell of the creature, and you can see immediately the shell starts to like disintegrate. Like you can see the
Yeah.
decay setting in.
I like that.
The max damage.
Wow.
Whoa.
12 damage.
I lick this.
Lick this.
Jillian, quiet for 4 rounds. And then
She did. She fucked up like
she
3 of
killed
the
a
small
couple
ones.
She was supervising.
Great, so you can see it kind of, and you can see the creature. It's writhing in pain. That one looks very
Which
close to. This one looks very close.
Yeah, it
to
does.
its demise.
What?
She's
the
done.
other guy.
Question.
This one's damaged pretty good, but not as much as that one.
The temporary to HP.
Yep.
If I get some from her, and then I get some from my own stuff.
It replaces it. It does not stack. Yeah, you can only have one instance of temporary.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna use the radiant light again. What I'll kind of like
What was that?
come around it and try to get its attention away from Safira and like strafe around it.
And this is a dexterity saving
It
throw?
is exactly that. Yes.
It has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws because of the restraint.
I like that.
Teamwork.
14. Still saves. So even though restrained, it's sort of in its panicking state. It's moving around very quickly. It's hard to target.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna have moved like 2 squares, so 10 feet.
This way?
No,
This
no,
way?
that way. Yeah.
Look over here.
All right, it's Erland.
All right. So I just missed a knee. Gonna spin the quarterstaff over top of its head.
Great.
Cool.
God, disadvantage you got.
17 to hit.
17.
There we go.
There we go. Come on.
It's a new day.
4 bludgeoning damage.
4 bludgeoning damage.
Come on.
You give it a good smack. It looks pretty beat up.
There we go.
Smack it again.
Yes, but how much?
How many smacks?
How many
How many
smacks?
smacks?
You can give it a
One
double
smack,
smack,
yeah.
or a single smack, I think.
Concentrate on the one smack.
Did you heal yourself, by the way?
I did not. Thank you for reminding me.
Nice. Look at you, fresh plant boy.
And that was
Round 4.
Right.
So one more round of it, yeah. Alright, we're resting soon. I'm using a key point and we're gonna do 2 extra attacks
great.
here.
Says
Give me
you.
the rolls. Give me the rolls.
There'll be 2 more fights after this.
Yeah, it's true. Alright, so
Don't say I'm not gonna survive.
We got black line.
23 to hit.
It's definitely.
That's a hit.
So, it does 5 bludgeoning damage.
Get rid of it.
Bludgeoning damage. Oh.
So does... Is this a creature that could conceivably fall prone?
Yep. Definitely.
And prone means you get advantage on attacks, yes?
Yes.
Great. So it needs to do a dexterity saving throw, please. DC 13.
12.
Yeah. So, okay, so it spins, then going for like a kick, which makes it fall
And it
prone.
kind of hits the ground.
And then swinging up over top with advantage on this one. 'cause
Yep,
it's
with
prone.
advantage.
Yeah.
17 to hit.
17
Oh my
hits. Roll
gosh.
for damage.
5 bludgeoning damage.
Alright, so you go in. What was the attack there?
So it was like spin over the top of the head, kick it down, and then let's go for a full elbow drop.
Right, you drop it down and you jam its head kind of down into the ground.
Dope.
Yes.
Crunch.
Good job. Good job.
Dope,
Alright,
dope,
one
dope.
left.
Ooh.
All right, top of the order, Safira.
Unless he wants to move. Can
Oh,
he
yeah,
move?
sorry.
Move as well.
Oh, actually, yeah, actually, good call. Thank you, Graven. I'll just move 40.
You can move, you know.
You can move.
Move your feet.
Get back up. move 40 feet as close.
15, 20, 25, 33. You can get up to it.
Oh, I do not want to get up to it. Let's go.
This is 30 there.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's just stay there.
You have a lot of emotion.
Erland just goes and
Sophia.
starts
Move really quick.
gets his
Okay,
horse.
I'm gonna try
Yes.
I did my work.
again
I was thinking about it.
with my sickle. This time with much more determination. This thing. You're
Great. Give it with advantage. He's restrained.
Good. I needed the advantage. 21 to hit.
21 hits. Roll for damage.
Yay! I thought it might.
Man, I really wanted to kill him.
4.
4. Safira, show us how to
Well, I see that it like I almost got up underneath it, so I wanna again.
You bump that again. We'll
Yes.
go back to it. Go ahead.
Sorry, and just kind of stab up underneath it.
Great. And
and
you sort of
pull out.
draw the blade and some of its like guts come out.
Eat it. Eat it. Eat the guts.
How off is the camera?
Oh,
I
it's
think we're
not.
okay.
I tightened it. Good
Yeah,
and
we
tight.
did. We made it Zoe proof.
That is a toy.
No, I came in there. Yay. Okay.
All right.
You guys take a breath, and the sort of insect limbs are kind of sticking up out of rocks at various angles, jutting out in various positions. And Jillian. Well done, everyone.
Is everybody okay?
Oh, not really. I'm definitely gonna need a rest.
All right. Well,
How many of those did you see in the mines? I mean, not the mines, in the shafts.
4 little ones.
This bit, not this big.
Not the big. No.
We cannot fight those much more.
Well,
they
let
are
us
native
make
to the
haste,
mountains. Hopefully, we've made a big enough dent in them that they won't come after us at least for a short period of time.
Should we proceed on foot so the horses don't disturb the shafts anymore?
Perhaps at least for a little while.
Jillian, do you know if these creatures, if we Are they territorial? If we take any part of them, can they smell others and avoid them, or the opposite?
I don't know about that. It's more about what Erland said. If we tread lightly, at least we might be over the top of some kind of nest that might have disturbed them. So we'll walk lightly until we're a little bit further away.
Okay, it's a good idea.
Right. Well,
Let's grab our horses. Let's get
Let's do it.
moving.
You track them down. I mean, the slants are sort of high enough that they haven't run away. You take a second to get them, bring them back.
as Safira's looking mighty rough, Orba's gonna go up to her with her horse and just, are you okay? Do you need anything?
No,
Do we need to talk to
As long as we
Graven?
rest for just a moment, I'm sure we'll be alright.
If we encounter something else, you need to
I have a
stay-
health potion in my bag.
Okay.
And
Can-
Jillian's kind of walking the horse kind of up near you. Are we all right?
Yes, I was just checking in on her.
What time is it at this point?
It's probably it's not getting dark
Late
yet. Later
afternoon.
afternoon, yeah, like 3-ish, 3:30.
Was the bridge the area she wanted to rest near, or that
She was gonna say rest before you
before
got
we
there.
get that bridge? Yeah.
Safira, before we rest for the night, if I should be able to heal you, we can save a potion.
Okay, I'd appreciate it if we have a moment.
Alright.
Josko is not a violent man by any means, but I think we should rest before we get there. I have no idea if he will be welcome to our presence or if we have an opportunity to rest. So
I agree.
See if
You
we
never
can
know
find
who's
someone.
there as well.
As soon as we find any sort of safe place to rest, we should rest as soon as possible.
everyone keep an eye out, preferably somewhere that's not has some sort of cover. I would like to not be seen if someone's walking along one of the ridges. So keep an eye out.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Start to walk. You start to move sort of down that where the level ground is. And you continue. And sidestepping kind of the Kruthic corpses, you continue along this unruly terrain. Tufts of grass and short yellow reeds punching their way through the cracks in the rock, making it difficult to determine the most stable route. Some of those rocks kind of get loose. One steadfast boulder might give way suddenly under the weight of a horse, while smaller clusters have cobbled together over time to make a sort of flexible framework for easy passage. And you sort of move along at a decent pace, and you get, a couple 100 feet away from the fight, and Jillian sort of assesses. I think from here, on horseback is fine.
Okay.
Slowly.
Yes, slow until we're confident that we don't hear any rumblings.
Safira, do you want to ride on the back of mine?
Sure, and I'm gonna kind of nod and have her help me onto the,
I'll lift her onto the back.
I'll take the back now that Safira's a little wounded. I'll watch the back way.
Jillian continues to sort of lead, taking the front way. And you guys move along at a decent pace, and the further you go, the expanse of the mountains seems to swallow you up. The horizon obstructed on all sides by jagged crests glowing orange in the late afternoon sun. And for some, the isolation is an almost intoxicating feeling. Safira and Graven sort of comfortable and familiar with the mountains, the world around you coming to a standstill as the minutes kind of bleed into one another. And at the same time, this invigoration of kind of testing your mettle against the demands of the natural elements. You're much more at ease, at comfort here than in the sort of claustrophobic confines of a city like Mukmu and Urnchupa, where it feels like you're out of your element. You guys move along.
Nobody stares at you out here.
Graven, ride alongside me for a moment, if you don't mind. Move along. Comes up to the front. How are you doing?
Well enough.
Took a couple of good licks in these past couple encounters.
I did. Try to stay out of the thick of it, but sometimes can't be helped.
I understand. I marvel at your ability to stay grounded. You've lived your life in Antisuyu as I have, watched the war reshape the continent, served a god, tasted his unbridled divine power. You must feel a disconnect from the day-to-day, like you're walking through a dream almost.
It can seem that way, yes.
I can't say for certain, obviously, but I imagine that the dream-walking feeling to be similar to what I experience when I pass through these harvesting yards. Detached from myself, holding on by a single tethering thread that could snap at any moment, and my humanity would just disappear, leaving behind just an empty vessel of violence. Get that feeling sometime. I've found ways to fortify that thread. The ways I remember are to remember why you do it. You know, why it has to be you. Your reasons are not my reasons. We don't have a shared itinerary. But I do think we share the knowledge that there are parts of a journey where the strengthening of resolve protects you better than any full suit of armor. You always remember why you do it. And she reaches into her saddlebag. She pulls out a cloth. Sort of a simple gray cloth. And she holds it out to you. She gets her horse close and she holds it out.
What is this?
Take a look and remember why you do it. You open the cloth. And there's something, and you can hold it, even before you open it, you can feel it. It's solid, it's hard. And it's curved. And you take a peek. It's a massive tooth. Maybe 6 inches in length. Dull green in color. With a few hairline fractures that seem to run down the length of it. It's a lion's tooth. Just so you know, I'm not bluffing.
Is this your work?
No. And it's still alive.
That would be too much to hope.
Something tells me you would have known if it wasn't.
I imagine so. Wrap it up.
Always remember why you do it. She flips a little bit out of you. You guys have a moment here. As you're riding along, moving.
Kind of have one hand in my bag and one hand on the horse, just kind of
The
fingering
saddlebags
it.
are kind of right by you.
Yeah. Just kind of.
And it feels like, you could see the cracks in it, but it still feels solid. It doesn't feel brittle.
Would I know if this would have any properties to it?
Like magical properties of the tooth itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that way. Not that you're aware.
It's a broke ass tooth. Okay. Got it.
And you guys continue to ride. And there is sort of not a somber energy, not a sad energy, but just an exhausted energy. I mean, really, the number of crawling through the tunnels, moving through the mines, the fights, the bickering, the back and forth, just a lot of feeling the day's weight, and you're only part of the way through the day. And you guys keep riding. And Jillian kind of looks around, and she senses this sort of lull in the energy of the group. And after having just given Graven a sort of speech about resolve, she lets her horse kind of fall back a little bit so she's alongside most of the group. I mentioned that Josko was a peculiar character.
Yeah.
Would anyone care to hear a tale of old Josko Tibbets?
Yes, please.
Love to.
They're pretty good. I suppose we could start with his moniker, which requires a short history lesson. As an operative on assignment, it's very common, depending on the job, to adopt any number of false personas, disguises, identities, and so on. You could go for years under one identity and then switch entirely to another. Now, this made it very difficult for the Shade Assembly, who keeps a watchful eye on the operatives, to communicate about who is doing what at any given time. So when you're officially granted the title of operative, you choose a one-word moniker that they refer to you by, a sort of code name. And it can be anything you want as long as it's not already taken. It could be horse, it could be sun, it could be sword, whatever you like. Now, when he was young and in training, Josko had a reputation for telling other students how to do things, a sort of busybody know-it-all. And for this, he earned a derisive nickname, Headmaster, or Headmaster Tibbets, because he was always constantly telling you the correct answers, as he saw them. He hated this nickname. If we meet Josco, don't call him headmaster. And it followed him around for years. And when he finally earned the title of operative, he wanted to choose a moniker that was the exact opposite of headmaster, symbolic of his overcoming the jeers and the ridicule. So he submitted the name Bum Slave. In his estimation, bum being the opposite of head, and slave being the opposite of master. And the Shade Assembly in their entire history had never received a moniker request so ludicrous. They were caught entirely unawares. Bum Slave was obviously not already taken, and there were no written rules that prevented it, so they approved it. And so Headmaster Tibbets became Josco Bumslave. And to his credit, it worked. If you found out that someone had two nicknames, and one of them was Headmaster, and one of them was Bumslave, which one would you call him?
I suppose the choice is easy, isn't it?
Sort of emblematic of his unorthodox approach to life in general. The only reason I can tell you that story is because Josco is no longer an operative. It's forbidden to reveal the moniker of an active operative. Although someday when I'm retired, I hope you hear my moniker and think of me.
Do you like your moniker, Jillian?
I do. You choose it, you choose your own. So, I chose one that I felt suited me. You mentioned at one point that you had a run-in with former operative Winston Muldoon.
Mm-hmm.
Not an operative anymore. If you happen to hear the moniker Vulture, that was his.
Sounds about right.
Not a shocking nickname.
You seem to know him better than I do. Our years working as operatives did not overlap very much.
Did he have a good reputation as an operative?
Fairly, and certainly to get the job done. Like I said, he was excommunicated, I think, for violating an oath of neutrality. You're not allowed to choose sides or take a moral high ground as an operative taking on a job. There was some murmurs that he got into trouble, sort of taking on his own morality in certain situations.
Is there someone in particular that he backed?
Not that I know of. Like I said, mostly before my time.
Do you receive any sort of jewelry or insignia when you have a nickname or a moniker?
No. It's inscribed somewhere in the Shade Assembly in Finlock Forest, but you don't carry something with you.
How do you become an operative, Jillian?
You go to the Shade Assembly mostly, express your interest. They follow you around for a number of years. They evaluate possible candidates. Lots of people want to become operatives mostly because it can be fairly lucrative if you're willing to take on the right tasks. And they pick from a list of potentials. They bring you to Finlock Forest to train. If they deem you worthy, you become an operative.
Are there a lot of wizards at the Shade Assembly?
There are some. Josco was one.
Interesting.
What's the penalty for getting your own personal politics involved?
Excommunication mostly. Just not allowed to be an operative. The Shade Assembly doesn't punish you with violence or anything like that. You also cannot benefit from any of the sort of perks of being an operative. Passage through a number of places, easy to access certain caches of equipment, weapons, goods, a number of things at your disposal when you are part of the Shade Assembly.
Well,
What's your favourite nickname that you've heard from an operative other than Bumslave, of course?
Like I said, most of them are not funny. Most people pick something that sort of makes them sound tough or meaningful in some way to their past life.
Innocuous completely.
Sure, yeah. Some people pick things that are related to the family crest, an animal, a boat, a sail, a sign, a flag, anything.
how do you know your time is up as an operative?
Well, you... either one of three things happens. You are excommunicated, you retire, or Josco voluntarily left long before his service was due. I think he had a problem with the lying. That was the reputation. As an operative, you understand that when you take on a mission, they're required to give you all of the details. Who's involved, how much danger it might be. Now, people lie to operatives for all kinds of reasons. They're worried you're not going to take the job. They're thinking that they don't want to pay you as much. If they make it sound less dangerous, they don't have to pay you as much. And as an operative, it's your job to suss out these lies and figure out who's telling the truth, who's worthy of taking the job on. But I think Josco found that people were abusing their privilege of hiring operatives in general, taking advantage of the services that they provided.
Oh, so it wasn't the lying on the operative's end, it was the lying on the...
Client's end, yes.
Oh. Interesting.
We weren't close, but that was the impression that I got.
Does that bother you?
No. I think I'm better at identifying liars than Josco was.
He wasn't good at it?
I think he saw the best in people sometimes, almost to a fault. Perhaps one of the only skills of his that was lacking. I understood that he was a powerful mage.
I look forward to meeting him.
Should be interesting.
You guys continue to run. Hopping along. And you see, after riding for some time, kind of up on your left, a little raised plateau, slightly off of the trail that you're following. And a slanted portion of the mountainside kind of juts out at an angle that kind of almost makes like a zigzag or lean-to-esque out of the rock. And it gives partial coverage from anyone who might be up on a high surface looking down. And immediately Julian kind of spots this, and a number of other Graven spots this, Safira spots this. Perhaps somewhere to rest.
Yes.
Looks good.
Let's get close, see what we find. You guys are moving forward. And it hasn't gotten enclosed yet. I mean, the space is still fairly open. You haven't gotten to that part where she talked about where it really starts to kind of, the walls kind of come up in on you.
Right.
And you move along. Perception checks for everybody.
Nice.
21.
19.
17.
12.
Alright.
Oh, I was noticing.
Safira looks up, and overhead, a small pack of birds go flying by. Sort of deep crimson feathers standing out amongst the more muted colors of the mountain backdrop. You've seen them before. These are bloodhawks. Not necessarily hostile. They kind of have a pretty appearance to them as the wings kind of flap and the reds kind of move in sort of a up and down motion. And they typically move in little flocks. Native to the mountains. It's been a while since you've seen one. It kind of almost reminds you of home a little bit. Erland looks over to the side and sees some sizable animal droppings. Pellets in an oval shape. Make a nature check for me.
Oval poops.
Yes.
That is what it.
Natural one.
Oval poops. You know.
Sort of glance over. You're not able to identify where they're coming from.
Reminds me of home a little bit.
Just poop on the side of the road.
Aww.
And Orba spots a couple shrubs, and you recognize them as chana shrubs, which grow little berries. They have like needle-like leaves similar to like a pine tree, but they have a reddish bark. And they grow a waxy, kind of whitish berry. And they're bitter, but they're edible. You could pluck some of the berries, similar to like a juniper berry or something.
Yeah. They're near the thing?
Yeah, like kind of on your way.
Yeah. Can I...
You see Orba kind of go off to the side. Make a nature check, sort of foraging a little bit.
A forager's check.
17.
Great. So you're able to get 15 berries. You kind of pluck them off. They're not
Ooh.
huge. They're like probably a little bigger than a blackberry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, they don't taste great, but they're sustenance. I mean,
They're not good berries.
they're not
Aww.
good berries.
Mm-hmm. Great. So I'll have those collected for everybody once we settle in.
You guys make your way to this little area, and Jillian kind of keeps an eye around, and she slides off her horse. And there's like some little plants, some sort of roots protruding out of the rocks that she ties her horse to. She makes her way up to this little plateau. If everyone would like to join me up here, take a quick rest.
Okey-dokey. Who wants a berry?
I'd love one.
I still have the raccoon, don't I?
You do so.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna ask Jenny, do you think we can make a fire, or is it going to draw too much attention?
No, I think that's all right. There's enough sort of ventilation overhead that I think the smoke will disperse enough.
So I want to start gathering, like, I'm looking around if there's any kindling.
Make a survival check with advantage.
Oh!
Yeah,
Nat 20.
Great. So some of the roots that have like stuck out of the rocks, they do seem to have like a sort of dry bark that would make for a good bit of kindling. So you sort of like take your knife and you kind of you take like little pieces of this bark and you make a little pile.
Okay.
And you get a fire going. Sort of in the late afternoon.
I want to also start skinning the wreckage.
Go to work on it.
Yeah.
We'll have a bite to eat, and then we'll continue, see if we can't locate old Josco.
How far do you think he is from here?
Well, we haven't gotten to the part where the mountains sort of creep up on you yet. I'd estimate maybe an hour, perhaps a little less.
Not bad.
Should get there before it gets dark, which is what I'm hoping for.
Will do.
Take a moment, breathe, and then we'll get back to it. You guys take a short rest. You guys can do your short rest things.
Yeah.
So, hit dice, half of which are going to come back on a long rest.
Yep. Superiority dice come back. Action surge comes back.
Wow.
Spell slots don't come back until a long rest.
Yeah.
All of my stuff is not disadvantage anymore, right? Or is that
Yes.
extra?
Yep. Yeah,
I'm
so
good?
your exhaustion's gone. Yep.
Woo, baby, feeling good.
Yep. Sorry, that's
Back.
surge of energy.
So you get back half for short rest, you get back half your HP?
No, so yeah, your hit dice.
Oh, right. 3d10.
You can use them.
I see, yeah.
Yep.
Damn it.
And then on long rest, you get back half of your
All
hit
those
dice.
disadvantages weren't even bad. I didn't even need it.
I get jack shit back. I get zero divinity.
That's Constitution, isn't it?
Yes, if you're rolling a hit die,
Yeah.
it's the die plus your Constitution modifier.
Oh, you got a one.
Oh, no.
Graven tries to sit and like concentrate, and he sort of his breath is not focused at all. Erland got a 0.
Oh my god.
Do I do another?
I'm gonna hold on.
Do I keep my temporary HP?
Yes.
Okay.
I can choose to roll another one
Yep.
if I want.
They only restore.
I rolled all my hits.
Yeah. No. They
That's
don't
fine.
fully
Hey,
restore
use
after
them.
a long rest.
Beezaura is using any hit dice
It's-
to heal.
Half. Round
Oh.
down. So if you use 2.
How many do I have?
It says you have all 3.
Yeah.
You didn't use
You
it.
can use 1, 2, or 3. You don't have to use all.
So if I use one and see what I roll,
Yeah, you
then
can see what you
I
roll
see.
first. Yep.
Well, that's
So
your
if
It's
it's
10. Jesus.
so 3d10. So I can just use one.
I would do one at a time, yeah.
Yeah.
And roll that.
9.
Good.
So you heal that, yep. And then you can choose to use another one if you want.
Pretty good.
Just mark that you've used one.
Yeah, I got one. So 9.
Sure, I get.
It's 20.
Is everyone good?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure.
Oh, can I take a second to water the plant?
Yeah.
Like I have a water
only
skin,
get
I would
that,
imagine, right?
so-
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take the bamboo
You'll get
plant
that
out.
one back.
Yeah. It's got a little like sack with soil in it.
Yeah.
Do I see her doing
one
that?
back.
I'm not trying to
Are we
hide
all
it.
sitting around?
Two.
Perception.
So-
Am I trying to hide it?
If it were me, I would do it. I would
No.
do one more.
She's not.
Make a perception check.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna do one more.
Sure, go for it.
Just in
7?
7. You don't really. You're sort of doing your own thing. You don't
Wait,
know what
you
to
add
do.
your
You're trying to
Constitution too,
regain
which
one
is-
measly
Yeah.
point.
Come on, Leah.
Oh.
Holy crap.
How does it
She
look?
adds her Constitution modifier to those.
each roll,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
So that was 9. So then I got 3. So that's 12.
What is...
So that's another
What algebra is
6.
occurring on
And then that's
6 plus 3,
6 plus
another
another
nine.
9. Oh, then I'm all set.
Yes.
So,
So
you
you
have
get-
one left here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you
So
not
when
do
you
that?
do a long rest, you
How many
get back
dice did
half of your dice rounded down. So you get one
You rolled all
die.
3.
That's fine.
Yeah, I rolled all 3 because
So
I
now
had
I'm
2.
at
Okay, so 3, 4, and 5. So you really rolled a 10.
Any other
No.
things people are doing as we're
6
sort
plus
of?
3 is 9.
Yep.
Okay,
Any
sorry.
other?
Graven's just gonna kind of stay to himself
So you
and
got
the horse up and kind of put his back up against.
Okay, so
Close
it's
his eyes.
25.
Sort of take a.
Yes, because you had 2.
Where is everyone in this moment?
It's not a huge little plateau that
Okay.
you're on. I mean, it's big enough to have a conversation with just one person if that's what you were trying to
No, just like if I'm around the fire, am I the only one around the fire or a bunch of people
do. No,
around
you're
the
all
fire?
pretty close. I mean, the whole plateau is maybe 25 feet across. It's not a big
Oh.
spot.
I'm at max.
Can I like take a, as I'm watering it,
35.
closer look at the plant? Like, is there anything else I can gather from other than my initial assessment of it?
Give me a nature check.
But that's pretty good.
Great.
That's a natural one.
You look at it and you have no clue what this plant is. You've never seen it before.
What a cool plant.
But it like breathes, you said, right?
It
Or
kind
like-
of, it kind of has like a pulse, like very slight pulsing, and it seems since it's been a while since you've watered it, the pulsing has slowed a little
okay.
bit. Like at first it was kind of moving, and it's kind of slowed down a little bit.
But I watered it sufficiently
Yeah, you would give it water.
until later today.
You see that the soil, it has that kind of sack,
Yeah.
and the soil turns from like a light brown to a deeper dark brown. It looks like the roots have pulled nutrients from the soil.
Okay, and I put it in a sunny spot for a second to give it some sunshine.
There's a little bit of sun left in the day.
Is your little baby now?
Yeah.
Anything else anyone want to do in this moment?
Berries.
Yeah, I would love some
Orba
berries.
distributes some
Yes.
berries.
Thank you.
Have I skinned the raccoon at this point?
Yeah.
I would like to start cooking it,
Right,
if that's
do
okay.
some,
I don't
yeah.
know if I can find something with which to do
Yeah,
that.
just
I'm
sticks.
sure I can, yeah.
I mean, Safira's, you've hunted before, you've lived
Yeah.
in the wilderness, you know how to do it.
Yeah.
She does so. And as the group kind of recuperates here, that's where we're going to take a little break before we journey forth onward.
Just go.
Into 3 more fights.
Yep.
The Bum Master.
No.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be right back.
There's a lot of new people in chat tonight,
Awesome.
and there's a new Be Right Back screen where we do like a big interview and recap the like first 6 or 7 episodes, just to like
Yes.
give everybody an idea of what the world is, since it's a homebrew.
Yeah.
It comes in after like the first minute of the Be Right Back screen, so stay tuned and watch it. There's so much helpful and funny information in
Yeah,
it.
it hits some of the big key plot points in the story so far. So if you're joining us for the first time, thanks for joining us. Awesome. And yeah, it'll just give a quick rundown of sort of where we've gone so far. So,
Awesome.
That's it. All right, we'll be back in 15.
All right.
And the video will come in after 1 minute after the.
Nice.
Yeah,
the-
you're like 50
So stay
seconds.
like great stay.
Don't go to the bathroom yet.
Right there.
Sit down.
There.
Hush. Do you know what a harvesting yard is?
Remind me.
Myconids are semi-intelligent, like mushrooms, like fungus. They're being harvested to create this sort of extract.
What is that?
We don't quite know what it does, we just know that it gives some sort of superpower. Jillian is firmly on the side of it being immoral and something that should not exist on Anti-Suyu. Well, we'll go back and forth.
Big key moment.
All right, Halfling is in a box, attacked.
You're allowed full sentences, I think. And we like fight that battle, and Jillian runs off after one of the Witherlings. Yeah, and we find an underground like lab that has some mysterious sort of mist and pumping, and GGG P216 first ED is written on the wall.
GGG. First edition. Page 216.
There was a teacher of mine named Master Grimari, and he wrote a rather famous book called Grimari's Giant Grimoire. I sort of
Yes.
ruined his life.
It wouldn't be a stretch to say that he might blame you.
I think specifically he blames me.
Okay, so when we arrived in Orange Chupa,
Oh no, Jillian's not there. Robert Bastille. He's like a get it done kind of guy in Orange Chupa.
I'm concerned about Jillian. She was supposed to be here yesterday.
We were separated.
Do you know what her business was after she met us?
Jillian has shut down a couple of these camps already. She was in the business of finding a third. But there are those who've come to rely on these resources, so you can see how she might be constantly in danger.
We talked to Polnick, who's kind of the like authority of Orange Chupa.
he got very suspicious of the party as a whole. The longer we stay in a place, the more things tend to blow up, I guess. I don't know, it was just bad luck. When we attended the wine tasting, other things went wrong.
Sort of a reconnaissance mission at the Mullifer wine tasting.
Baron gave me the invitation because he's the one that requested the pieces for me. I am in need to find these chess pieces in order to get my name written off of some sort of records.
These pieces are at the tasting?
They belong to very important people. I have no idea who they are.
Beezaura was sort of off doing her chess piece, Light Whistle Chess Club reconnaissance.
Then we ended up in the basement, like fighting for our lives.
Oh yeah, doing the real fight.
While the other three were monkeying around with empty suits of armor.
I was supposed to be finding out information relating to Jillian and her whereabouts from this sort of guy, this Tiefling named Armand Valliard.
Seems Jillian has been taken prisoner by a tribe of barbarians, and we have 1.5 to 3 days before the barbarians reach the Chaki Mountains.
That's not good.
No.
We got a couple leads on where we could maybe help Jillian and figure out what our next step was.
And then we hit the road, Jack. Real
and
quick.
did not come back.
No more.
Also, if we didn't leave, we were going to jail, and that's a good motivator.
Robert can no longer help us.
Okay.
Polnick seems to be after us.
Yes.
I think we ought to leave Orange.
At this very moment, or?
Today at 3 p.m., yes.
When we were trying to track down Jillian,
We hit the crossing. There was an explosion.
Like, they're here.
We
but-
went in there really spicy hot. Boom, find Jillian. She's hiding behind a crate. Rediscovering Jillian.
to complete this Myconid camp scouting mission.
I plan to continue and go to this Myconid camp.
Will we also be a part of the destruction?
You blow them up, and the Myconids inside them.
They go with it. Do you think they prefer their situation as it stands?
I'm just wondering if that's the best way to dispose of them.
Have you ever thought of a way to cut the head off the snake rather than take down individual camps?
That would be something I'd look into. It's difficult to track down the source.
This isn't as effective and easy a problem to solve.
Strategery.
We got her in a carriage and we headed to Blom's house, who's a druid friend of hers that was nearby.
Which didn't last long. Attacked again. More undead.
What are we doing? They're coming towards the house.
Jillian, there's a crossbow in the pantry behind the shelves. Get it? The others hold the door. Nobody goes through, understand?
Either band together or die. That's when the group really comes together. R.I.P. Blom, maybe.
Didn't enjoy that at all. That was terrible.
I don't have anything else to say to you, sir, so could you please stop asking me?
Recaps are hard.
It's really hard.
Boy, after a tough day of working, just a big glass of Myconid extract.
It's
It's the spot.
It's tangy.
Oh, tasteful.
We caught you unawares.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you stayed to watch the video, a little recap, little.
I mean, everyone probably watched it. Definitely.
Yeah.
They have to.
We're gonna dive right back in. Right at the end of this short rest, as people sort of recuperate a little, gain a little bit of their strength back after a number of taxing events throughout the day. And you can already see that Jillian's a little itching to get going, sort of at the end of this hour, kind of wrapping up. She's already sort of tying a few things to her bag, making sure everything's secure on her horse. So, how's everyone feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Well enough.
Ready to go,
Very recuperated, actually.
Excellent.
I put
I'm
my
glad to
plan
hear it.
back in my bag.
All right. Tamp out the fire, would you?
I'll start, throwing some dirt over the fire
And the smoke kind of dissipates. And with the winds in the air and stuff, like Julian said, I mean, the smoke rises, but it quickly sort of dissipates. It would be hard for someone to identify, unless they were looking very carefully or close by.
Okay.
You guys start to pack your things, get up on your horses. Are we returning to the same kind of layout? Beezaura and Safira sharing a horse?
Yeah, sure.
And I'll take the front.
Great. Start riding. There's really only one direction to go, so you can be leading it. Jillian doesn't try to ride ahead of you. You guys start to ride. And as Jillian foretold, the topography begins to shift as you let the even ground guide you forward. The rock walls to your left and right kind of rise with steady intensity until that auspicious feeling of the sort of infinite expansion and open wilderness is replaced by these cliffs that leave just a sort of strip of open air overhead. And for those with extensive traveling or fighting experience, it's a disconcerting layout. An ambush from above could materialize in an instant without a chance of seeing it coming, and the sides are steep enough to severely limit the escape routes in emergency. You can really only go forward or back, or you'd be climbing. And Jillian clocks these hazardous elements. You can see her eyes kind of flitting from ridge to ridge, and occasionally trying not to make it obvious, but glancing back sort of behind you guys just to make sure that nothing's coming up on your rear. And you sense her unease, but with the need to keep the horses and the understanding that the area is not really a hotbed of activity, she makes a good show of advancing confidently forward. And the trail snakes gently back and forth, and it's difficult to gauge how long you've traveled. Behind one bend is the continuation of another rock wall, and then another, and then another, back and forth. And the hypnotic rhythm is enough to make you sort of rub your eyes and shake off the malaise of staring at the same textures over and over for what seems like an eternity, but it might be under an hour. And then finally, one more bend. You start to see a little open air in front of you, far in the distance.
It's opening up.
Distant peaks that seem miniaturized in the distance. Should be coming up then. If it opens up, that must be the canyon.
Do I see a bridge?
It's still pretty far out. I mean, you guys are a good distance. Before we get there, shall I regale you with another tale of Mr. Josco Tibbets?
Yes, please.
I'm really enjoying these stories.
Another one of Josco's infamous endeavors was his service to Lord Raimi Purinoy. Does anyone know that name?
No.
I may have heard it.
Lord Purinoy hired Josco because of his illusory magic proficiency, disguises, polymorphing, and so on. There was a suitor coming to visit to evaluate the adequacy of Lord Purinoy's daughter before agreeing to marry her. Lord Purinoy wanted this union very badly. The suitor was some kind of distant relative to the Mullifers, and he thought that this connection would protect him from retribution if the Emperor should win the war. You see, Lord Purinoy's castle is just south of Dilisun, and Dilisun was one of the largest, if not the largest, rebel strongholds during the war. He feared that his proximity to the rebel city made him guilty by association, so he wanted this marriage to protect his good name. And what do you do when you need a neutral party to protect your interests during wartime? You hire an operative. Josco's orders were to forge this union by any means necessary. Lord Purinoy had it in his mind that Josko would perform a number of visual tricks, cast a spell to make his daughter more attractive, use illusions to make his tapestries marvelous and his dinnerware jewel-encrusted, mundane things like that. Well, the suitor comes to visit, and Josko finds him to be a cruel and lecherous brute, abusing the servants, groping the young Lady Purinoy inappropriately. One of the cooks spilled a bowl of soup on him, and he said that he would not consider the prospect of marriage unless his lordship punished the server by boiling him alive in his own cauldron. But still, Josko's orders stood. Forge the union by any means necessary. A neutral party can't get involved. So Josko came up with an unusual plan of action. He used the seeming spell to make the suitor appear as the offending cook, and it fooled Lord Purinoy enough that he tossed the suitor into the boiling cauldron. He then altered his own appearance to that of the suitor, and agreed to marry the daughter. Now, a spell that alters yourself only lasts for an hour or so at a time, so Josko couldn't keep up the deception for long. He explained what he'd done to Lord Purinoy, and he was furious. But what could he do? He couldn't go back to the suitor's family and tell them that their son had been murdered in his castle under his protection. And he couldn't complain to the Shade Assembly because Josko had done exactly what was asked of him, without any explicit violence on Josko's part. So despite his seething fury, Lord Purinoy was forced to play along with the lie. The sham marriage went forward, and on top of that, Lord Purinoy had to continue to pay operative rates to keep Josko at his castle for a number of years until it was clear that the rebels would win the war. So by my estimation, Josko spent years getting paid every single day to live in a grandiose castle, to act as a prince to a lovely princess, and not have to worry about finding additional, riskier employment. And so the tale of Josko Bumslave continued.
He comes up with all this on his own.
He is a clever man. I'll give him that.
What is the name of the suitor he took the form of?
I honestly can't remember. It wasn't an important detail of the story as far as I know. Like I said, a distant relative to the Mollivets.
He lived under his name for quite some time, I assume.
Like I said, not my tale, just one of Josko's. You can ask him if you like.
Being an operative sounds lovely.
If you're smart enough.
Wouldn't call it lovely, but it has its moments.
Was anyone else in Josko's family an operative?
In his family? Not that I know of.
I don't know if all that intelligence is passed on.
He doesn't have any children as far as I know. He must be in his later 50s at this point. Perhaps 60 years old. He's a half-orc, so his lifespan is shorter than that of humans.
Purinoy is?
No, Josko.
Oh, Josko's a half-orc.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to meeting him.
I'm looking forward to seeing him again. You guys continue to ride. When you get closer and closer, is there anything before you guys sort of get closer to what looks to be maybe the edge of this canyon that anyone wants to address, talk to?
I think I'm okay.
Good.
I guess hearing about half-orcs, I guess it sort of jogs everyone's memory a little bit. Out loud, not secretly to Jillian, just... You mentioned, the Broken Crown is run by, partially run at least by a half-orc named, Dadanock, yes?
The Gentle Void.
Sorry, the Gentle Void, yes. Is run by, those
We're trying to traverse silently.
Flamehawks?
Flamehawks. That's the calling cry.
Flamehawks. Yeah, they have a sort of loud siren-like call. Was that Beezaura's rallying cry?
I think I'm being echoed out there.
That's right. Yes, it was run partially by a half-orc named Dadanock, you said, yes?
Yes, Dog.
Have people seen him? Do they know where he is?
Dadanock and Guy Lamar keep to themselves. I believe Dadanock was in charge of more of the northerly operations and Guy Lamar more in the south. Arichupa, Tuktumukmu, that's more Guy Lamar's domain, and Dadanock sort of up near Dilasoon and Navikapur.
But people do know what they look like, yes?
Some people do, yeah.
Do you know what they look like?
No.
Why do you ask?
We just only because
You're
we found
suggesting
out.
they could be the same person?
Well, no, that's fairly interesting, but no, we just met.
That would be the greatest trick he ever pulled. If Jolsko was also Keeper or Dardanok.
Then I'm turning around for sure.
No, just the Wesley associated with the Lemonade Man was a half-orc, so I was simply seeing how many half-orcs there might be in this operation, seeing if there might be some sort of... We haven't seen the Gentle Void in Mukmu at all, and so it was just...
Yes, Mukmu, not a hotbed of activity for the Gentle Void. I think if you head to Tuktu, you'll find they have a considerably larger presence. Half-orcs are not terribly common down here. There are far greater populations up in the north. You see more of them up there.
Yes, just trying to piece things together unsuccessfully, I suppose.
Worth thinking about. Yes, I've never met Dardanok or Guide Lamar. Those in the Gentle Void, they do not seek the employment of operatives at any time. They sort of hire out in their own ranks.
It seems curious. I feel like whilst in On Chupa we assume that the Gentle Void was sort of at the bottom of this, or at the center of this at least, but...
Of the camp itself?
Of the Myconid trade and this camp in particular, yes, but... Yes. Given the seeming total absence of the Gentle Void in Mukmu, that causes some suspicion, does it not? Yes.
The Lemonade Man had quite a grip on that city.
Yes, but if... I'm talking about being at the center of something, who we should expect at this camp, other than Black Lion.
As you relayed that information to me, it occurred to me that, yes, the Lemonade Man seems to have quite a presence in Mukmu. If he's working with the Gentle Void in some capacity, they might be leaving that to him. If they trust the Lemonade Man to operate Mukmu, perhaps they don't feel that a presence of the Gentle Void is necessary. Tuktu is also very close. If they felt like something was going wrong, it would be a day's fast ride, maybe a day and a half to get there.
The Black Lion are not organized enough to be at the very center of this, to be in charge of this. So the only sort of political enterprise that we know of right now that could be at the center of this seems to be the Gentle Void.
Of course, that's under the assumption that it is in fact one entity that's controlling this trade. It could be multiple.
Several powerful entities working together.
Could be, yes.
And certainly in my time, shutting down these camps, at least scouting them, they've been run by more than just the Gentle Void. Obviously, recently that's been the implication, but other ones that I've seen smaller operations that could be a handful of people, simply a few citizens that thought they'd turn a tidy profit.
But as you've expressed, this is probably not your typical camp.
No, I agree.
Jillian, besides the Myconid camps, what else are the Gentle Void really responsible in all of Antisuyu? What do they do with their time?
Like I said, they have sort of a mixed reputation. In a lot of places, it's simply a place where you could be a mercenary or a hired hand. People join them when they can't find otherwise employment as enforcers, bruisers, mercenaries, that sort of thing. Some cities, they have more of an organized presence.
For future reference, should we ever encounter somebody from the Gentle Void, should we assume maliciousness or no?
It would probably be safe to. I think one thing about the Gentle Void is they do fiercely look after their own, and anyone else they see as an outsider. So I wouldn't go trusting one unless you absolutely felt it necessary or felt that you had something to offer them.
That original contract on you, that was the Gentle Void, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Safe to assume they're still after you?
They have it over my head, of course.
These people they hire as mercenaries and brutes, do they screen them in any capacity, or can they be anyone?
I think it can be anyone. I think you sort of start at the bottom. You perform a number of tasks for them successfully, rise in the ranks.
Would you like to infiltrate, Safira?
No, I'm asking because I'm wondering if, I don't know, if there's a way to determine rank, what kind of people are we dealing with? Are these people who are down and out? Are they scared? Are they, I don't know. It helps to know, I think. Hopefully, I don't know.
The Gentle Void aren't really scared of much.
Beezaura, you can't shed any light now that we all kind of know. Your history with them?
I don't know an awful lot. I just know that once they have something on you, they make you pay for it.
Yes, once you're marked, right?
I have the impression that they keep some sort of record of those who have wronged them in a meaningful way.
They do. Big list. And it's hard to be removed, that's for sure.
Okay.
Something on your mind, Safira?
Who has the most? Who's paying them? Where do they get the money from? Obviously, they complete mercenary tasks, but who's their biggest employer?
In what way? Guy Lamar and Dardanach are the ones at the top.
Sure, but who's contracting the Gentle Void?
Well, the Myconid trade is quite lucrative. I assume if they're controlling it, if they're running camps, that would give them a great deal of coin.
They have their hands in all kinds of things. Mining operations, guilds, any sorts of things that might come up and be lucrative monetarily.
Since it was before my time, during the war, were the Gentle Void involved, or was that kind of a result of the end of the war?
They were around in a sort of haphazard capacity, but they really came into their own after the war, yes.
Mm-hmm. Were they on a certain side?
Mostly rebels, I think. I think that the Emperor had a tighter-fisted sort of control over organized crime like that. He was able to sort of tamp it out, and from what I understood, the rebels reluctantly accepted their help, and in exchange, people often looked the other way when they did things that were immoral or stole crime.
I'm willing to bet if we ever do meet Guy Lamar or Dardanach, they're not the ragamuffins that we're sort of accustomed to seeing with the
No, surely not.
You don't get to the top like that without a lot of hard work and a lot of smarts.
In fact, they probably believe they're doing the right thing.
Most
Well, I
do.
wouldn't go that far.
Very,
Making money can seem like the right thing to anyone.
Providing for your family.
and they're not afraid to hold bounties and bribes over people to get what they want.
No, nor are they afraid to use violence. Whether or not it's extrajudicial doesn't seem to matter to them at all.
The best person to ask about this, if you're curious, is to head over to Tuktu and talk to Armand. Not afraid to deal with the Gentle Void.
It's in the other direction, isn't it not?
I didn't mean later
Right
today.
Yeah.
Oh, sarcasm, right.
Alright. Heads down. Let's go. You guys continue. And as you ride forth, the walls start to spread out a little bit. And it becomes clear that there's a steep plunge at the end of this path. You can see where it starts to drop off, now maybe 100 feet away from you. But further up on your left, behind a couple of gnarled, leafless trees that are sort of protruding out of the rock on an angle, you see a small log cabin with a thatched roof.
Is that him?
I would guess that's where he's staying.
Do we assume he's at the bridge, or do we think he's home?
I guess we knock on the door.
Is this like a windowless like little cabin?
Doesn't have any windows that you can see so far.
The Unabomber cabin?
I guess.
Why
It does have a chimney.
Are we close?
You're getting closer, yeah.
Why wouldn't we just ride across the bridge if he's not guarding it?
You might have noticed, and she points, and you see no bridge. The bridge is magical in nature.
Fascinating.
Right, so Erland, I think if you could just go try to walk across, we should see how it works.
Please don't do that.
He doesn't even dignify it.
I don't mind knocking for him if you...
Let's ride, shall we? And you and Jillian sort of move a little closer. Make a perception check as you're riding up.
10.
A couple things that you notice. The door to the house is painted a bright green color, sort of very vibrant green. And near the drop-off, sort of the end of this path, maybe 5 feet from the edge, there are 2 large wooden poles that have been driven into the ground. And they're about 20 feet apart from each other, and a length of rope is wrapped around each of them. They look like the ends of a rope bridge, but you don't see the rest of the bridge.
Are they going straight out?
No, they're up, like sticking up out of the ground vertically. And the poles themselves have a strange marking carved into them. An upside down A with a curved line through it. And I do have that somewhere.
Is the connector of the A the curved line?
You're going to see in a second. He's going to show you that.
I mean, yeah, I had it, so I just
I'm
forgot
trying
to
to
grab
guess. I'm trying to use my imagination.
Describe.
I'm trying to be in
I
that
did.
brain.
I was smart. I just put
This is what it looks like.
Or Skittles.
Oh.
Ah.
But that's upside down, right?
Right side up in this camera.
You are seeing it correctly.
Oh, the
We are.
camera.
The camera.
Oh, the camera's
the
seeing it.
audience.
Yes, here, I can. The audience. Yes,
There we
looks like.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that representative?
There we go. Perfect.
And that it's on each of the poles?
Yes, each pole has that marking kind of carved into it.
Do I recognize that as any kind of...
Make an Arcana check as you ride up.
7.
7. It does seem familiar to you. You can't quite recall exactly what it is.
But I can recognize it as some kind of like rune or something?
Yeah, it seems to be, like a runic sort of
Okay.
symbolic of something, but you can't remember off the top of your head what it is.
Cool.
And scattered along the ground, as you're riding up in the direction of this house, are a number of splintered wooden shards. And one of the nearby trees has a sizable chunk that's been taken out of it, almost as if someone took like a bite out of it. It doesn't have jagged teeth marks, but it has like a whole chunk taken out of it.
Are we all seeing this, or is this just Beezy? Sorry.
She's the first one to see it. Do you say anything when you see that?
Yeah. They can hear me?
Yeah, you're not that far out. You're probably 25.
Can I also reach into my bag while I'm there and pull out one of my shards from
yes,
the other
yeah.
place? From the tackle shack? Not tackle shack, the
tackle
tackle shack. I pull it out and I look at those.
You want to get off your horse? You want to slide off your horse?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah. And you go down.
And I like compare the
Pick
two.
up one side. They're different kinds of wood, definitely,
Yeah.
because the trees are different, but maybe they look.
But they are shards of wood.
The shape, like the shape and the quantity
Of all over the place. And
yeah, they're littering the ground kind of here and there.
Team?
What's wrong, Beezaura?
May have seen that some of our woodland friends may have made a path here as well.
I get out my crystal.
Erland hastily is going to hop off his horse and run to the tree that it seems like the chunk has been.
taken
Yeah,
out. Yep.
and I want to know if it, because I think I got closest to the dude fighting them. I want to know if that looks like the effect of the spell. That
Make
he
a
was
perception check with advantage.
Take my mace out.
Yeah.
doing. Perception?
Out.
That advantage. 22.
22. You look up to it, and not only is there a chunk taken out of it, it looks like coming out of the chunk, there's a couple spots, grooves where a hand might have been placed into the trunk of the tree. So it looks very similar.
Do I see any footsteps or anything like that on the ground to and from the
Don't.
tree?
It's kind of littered with shards. It's hard to see anything like that.
Okay, what's over the cliff? Is this close to the cliff, or is it
It's
sort of
pretty
near the cabin?
The cliff is a little past the cabin. The cabin's kind of up on your left.
And the tree's sort of in between the two?
The tree's kind of punching out of the rock. So it's coming out of the side, on your left side.
So if I just like look down at the, so from where I'm standing, I can probably look at the cliff pretty clearly.
Not over the cliff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's close, but it's you'd have to.
So then, just having seen that, I'll knowing that Jillian likes this signal as a sort of stop.
She sees it and she's like.
So I'm gonna give everyone a stop,
Yeah.
and and as stealthily as possible, sort of run over to the group. They followed us. They were here somehow. I don't know if they're following us. I don't know if it was following the plant beasts.
Can you tell how long ago they were here?
From seeing it? No.
The shards
not from what you've seen
the
so
shards
far.
are all over. It looks like they've done what they had to
Seeing that
do.
we've been followed this far.
I don't know if we've been followed, but the plant beast, at least one of the plant beasts that we fought, was here
Hold on.
and caused that.
Erland, could it be conceivable if the Lemonade Man has any kind of part in this Mygonid camp that he would send those creatures up
guarding
through this path?
To demolish anybody in their way.
But why would they have a reason to attack?
It could be that there are more than just the two creatures that we saw. There could be more than more of them.
Can I be looking around, just
Make a perception check.
Okay.
You think it could be that, and you can hear kind of a little warble in her voice, that they came for Josko himself. That they're trying to prevent anyone from coming through this way by destroying the one person who has a bridge across.
12.
It could be, but you said your friend was a talented mage, yeah?
How powerful are these creatures that you fought?
Extremely, but there are... This isn't the only way through the Chaki Mountains.
No, but it's one of the only ways they're not watching, which is why we're using it.
I don't know if I'm not
We should
watching
check the
anything.
cabin.
We should check for
Right now.
Josco.
Where were you looking as you were looking around?
I
What were you
mean,
trying to look
alright, so if the cabins are on the left,
Yep.
the tree was...
It's like near the tree's like just in front of the cabin.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking kind of away from the cabin,
Okay.
like into the surrounding woods and
Yeah, I mean, you
stuff.
kind of walk and you're getting sort of close to the edge of the cliff. What'd you roll?
12.
12. You take a look and the only thing that you can see is on the other side, again, kind of 300 feet away, it looks like there's little poles on the other side that match these poles that are, on your side. Other than that,
But no movement.
you can see, yeah, no.
We're really close to the cabin now, right?
We should look at the cabin.
Yeah.
I'm going to go knock for Josco.
No, listen
no,
carefully.
no.
Approach carefully.
I don't know if we should knock.
Is there any
We
windows?
don't know what's been left inside.
Isn't there a latch or something, you said? Oh, that's the door.
There's a door. but
Okay,
you
so...
don't see it.
Windows?
Wait, we should
I'm not-
surround it.
These creatures that you're talking about, are they likely to be lying in wait? Are they loud? Are they...
They're very quiet and seem fairly mindless.
Mindless?
The
As in-
woodlings.
No, I'm talking about the larger
the
creatures.
conjurer of the woodlings.
I wouldn't say that they are mindless.
They seem...
They have a singular purpose,
Yeah,
perhaps.
that's sort of what I mean. They don't seem to be particularly rational creatures. They
Let's
attack.
not jump to that conclusion, though. We should maybe err on the side of they can understand what's going on.
Regardless of whether or not they can understand, regardless of what their intellect is, their actions are very one track. They attack or they retreat.
So if it starts to
Just
attack
check the
us...
cabin.
I don't hear anything at the moment. Beezaura, how do you feel about a good knock? Weapons at the ready. She's got a ready in action also.
Erland wants to not. If everyone's approaching the cabin, is that what's happening?
No, Jillian drew her bow and she's
Spreading
waiting
Yeah,
for
I'm
Beezaura to
doing
walk
that.
up
I
to
want
it,
to do
yeah.
the same.
I'm
I'm
gonna
following
ready
them.
a sacred flame and spread out.
Erland's actually going to even take a few steps back to try and distance himself from the cabin.
Okay.
But quarterstaff at the ready. Actually, let's ready a dart in case something
my
comes
God.
out.
Ooh, very precise.
Seeing Erland take a few steps back from the cabin, I might try to stay closer to him and have a spell ready as well.
Sure.
Jillian,
Yes?
why don't you just try to enter quietly rather than knock on the door?
Why don't you give a good listen first? You walk up to it, make a stealth check for me.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
So
I would
what-
say that's
it.
that.
It's honestly
It's
Take
right.
whatever one's on
Yeah.
top.
I
It's
forgot to
there.
ask, because the round didn't get back to me on healing, I don't get the fifth
You
one, right?
blew it!
Because you didn't get an attack.
It,
off.
no, like
Give
the
inspiration.
next round occurred, but it didn't
I
get
am
to me
wait,
in the
now
round.
it's on
I did
you.
not
You
get
do
the
get
fifth.
because I moved it.
He ruined it.
Just roll it again. If it was cocked, just roll it again.
It was,
Yes.
Roll it again.
Yes.
it was halfway between.
Let her rip.
Definitely.
For future reference.
Well, there you go.
my
It's the
God.
same thing now. Great.
Fate.
5. 5.
So you walk up to it, and it's not that you're not doing a good job, but there's these splintered pieces of wood everywhere. And as you walk up, they kind of... They're making a little snapping noise. It's
Okay.
impossible to avoid them as you kind of approach the door.
I-
And the house here next to the cliff, it's a modest house, but it also appears to be partially embedded in the rock wall. The interior may extend
Oh.
further than it looks from the outside, at least
Yeah.
partially. There's no windows. There's a stone chimney poking up, no smoke rising. And the door, again, painted a vibrant green. Though compared to the solid construction of the house, the door seems flimsy, like the boards are loose. And it's possibly slightly ajar, but there's no doorknob and there's no kind of lock, so it's hard to tell that for sure. And there's a sign that looks like it's hanging like askew. You can't read it because it's like fallen down and it's kind of hanging loose by the side. You can't read it without grabbing it.
Grabbing it. That would make too much noise.
Well, you're pretty close up to the door at this
Oh.
point.
Can I pick it up and lightly flip it?
Yeah, you quietly grab it and you turn it over. And it says, "Don't knock, pull cord" on the side. and it looks like just above it, there's a little like hole in the side of the cabin, and there's a little like length of rope with a knot at the end that's sticking out.
Zara, do you see something?
There's a sign telling us not to knock, but to pull a cord.
A cord?
You said this man is a trickster, correct?
An illusionist, yes.
Shall I use my mage hand? That way, in case the cord
Yes.
triggers some kind of a negative effect.
That might be the best idea.
Come back.
All right.
Everybody take a step back.
Give me a perception check as you got close as well, giving like a listen kind of at the door.
14.
14. It sounds silent in there. You do not hear any noise.
I don't hear anything.
No one's scuttling around inside the house.
Not that I know of.
All right.
Seems pretty quiet.
And it seems like a small one-room cabin, yeah?
Yeah, like...
But it's embedded, so you don't know.
can't... Yeah, again, it looks like partially embedded. It's hard to tell the size, but the part that's sticking out from the wall is not terribly large. Yeah, like one room.
I can always just try the door, but Orba, if you want to pull
Let's
the cord.
give the cord a pull before we wander in on our own.
Okay, everybody ready?
I'm kind of at the ready.
Yeah.
Alright, so Orba sits for a second. Oh shit, wait, I should have looked. Hold on. And she very quietly whispers, "Denied." And then a small hand appears right in front of the rogue.
Okay, 3, 2,
1. And I pull on the cord.
Pull and the cord, like a length comes out. It feels loose, or it looks loose in the mage hand's hand, and it pulls, and it seems to get to the end, like it gets taut. It kind of, boom, and as it does that, light comes in from the inside, and you can see the light because the slats of the door, because they're kind of
So
loose.
thin.
A little bit of light's coming through. There's no windows, but it looks like by pulling the cord all the way, the light lit up on the inside of the cabin.
Door.
That's it, that's taut.
Does anyone hear anything?
I put my ear back up.
Don't hear.
Can you open the door with your mage hand?
Could give it a push or a pull. What is it? I don't know.
And as you move the hand, as soon as it lets go of the rope, the lights go out.
Fascinating.
So it seems like unless the cord's pulled all the way,
The light just like goes out.
But that doesn't mean that the door becomes like locked or something, right? Because
not that you can tell.
Does Morse code exist in this world?
No, not in its sort of in the way you're thinking.
Yes. Oh.
It appears I'll only be able to do one thing or the other. Shall I try to open the door slightly and then turn the lights back on?
Or you can pull it and Beezaura could push the door open.
Okay. Are you comfortable with that?
Absolutely.
I pull it again.
The light comes on.
Lightly push.
And you push it, and as you push it, again, the door gives a little bit. It's
gives
kind
a
of
little.
It seems loose. And you give it a little push. And you peek inside. And it reveals a cozy but unremarkable interior. Fireplace near the back on the right side, not lit. Orange-yellow animal pelt rug on the floor. A desk, a few shelving units, a large, sort of comfortable-looking armchair. Some kind of two-door cabinet on the far wall. And in the center, a table with what looks to have some kind of sculpture or whittled piece of artwork. And in fact, after seeing that, you look back over at the desk and you can see a number of crafting and painting supplies. Brushes, pigments, oils, blocks of wood. There's a little magnifying glass that's kind of propped up so one could kind of look and paint. It's sort of a crafting station. And you see all these things around the room. You do not see any movement, life forms of any kind.
I hold the door with the one hand and look back at everyone. Doesn't seem to be anyone here at the moment. Just seems like a normal living area. Come on.
Everyone stand at the ready for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Josco? There's no reply. Josco Tibbets! We're looking for passage across the bridge. We'll be on our way.
What about his nickname?
Bum slave? And you get no response.
Curse.
Do you want me to go in further?
All right.
I take a step in, gently.
Make a perception check as you come through the door.
Can I start ritually casting detect magic?
Sure.
19.
Nice.
So you take a peek around the interior of the cabin. And a number of things kind of catch your eye around the room. Embedded in the floorboards and the back of the large armchair and a couple other spots around the room are a number of small barbs or spines. These sharp spines are about 1.5 inches long, and they look like they've been sort of stuck into a number of places, sort of up the side of the armchair. You can see them embedded in the cloth, and they're kind of around the room. There are partial footprints of dried blood moving from the doorway to the back part of the cabin. It looks like they kind of lead toward the cabinet in the back, and then they stop. And it looks like, sort of really getting a good look at it, good roll. The shapes of the dried blood change from footprints to sort of rounded, smeared spots.
No.
And it looks to you like maybe this injured person fell to their knees and maybe started crawling.
Yeah.
But it's not fresh, it's dry.
It's even worse.
As you get close to the center table, you notice a couple things as well. First of all, it appears to be a sculpture of a castle. It's colorfully painted, and it looks like it's carved out of what looks to be like a soapstone. Incredible, meticulous detailing on the moat, the keep, the battlements. There's a drawbridge, sort of parapets. There's a little central courtyard. It seems like he's spent considerable time here alone in the mountains, kind of crafting this piece. Endless hours getting the colors and the shading just right. And the sculpture is encased in a sort of glass box on all sides except the bottom. It sort of has a little display case that's been placed over it. And that's what you see when you come in.
Beezaura, should we follow you in?
Give me a moment. Can I go over to the cabinet?
Mm-hmm.
And I follow the footprints and just look how they changed.
Yeah.
And I'm at the cabinet and I like take a breath. I'm like hoping that he's not dead inside the cabinet, but bracing myself for what could be. And I open it up.
Take it. Are you trying to do this sort of quietly?
Yeah.
Make a stealth check.
Or not. Just rip it open.
Yeah.
Why are you in there?
That's 14.
14. So you just make your way up quietly, and you grab it. It looks like there's a little hook latch over one, and you carefully sort of move it over. You open it up, and it's empty. Nothing inside at all. There's a number of shelves, nothing on them. And in the bottom where there's like a big open spot, probably big enough for, it's probably 2 feet by 2 feet, like a big open area. Nothing in it. Empty.
And the footprints had just stopped, right?
They
the
stop
smudges.
right up to the edge of the cabinet and then they stop. Yeah.
But he could be invisible.
Hey.
Okay, so yeah, right.
Give him a good punch.
I walk back to like where the table is in the castle and just give it a good look and just amazed by the crazy sculpture that he made. And there's no evidence of any like, I don't know, any plan that he had or something
Give
like
me a
that.
perception check.
What's going on in there?
Graven's like,
Is he
making
in
me
there?
anxious.
19.
You look at it very carefully, and all the detail, a number of rings of walls, this sculpture. And right in the middle, there's like a little courtyard that he's painted, kind of the grass and a few trees. And in the middle of that courtyard is a symbol. That symbol. In the middle of the thing. On some sort of, it looks like almost like a painted gazebo, like it has like a little roof and a little sort of area in it, and it has the symbol on top. That symbol.
Symbol on top of the gazebo. Okay.
Beezaura.
Okay. And
Zara, unless you say otherwise, we're coming in.
No, it's all right. Come in.
I'm gonna stay outside, ritually casting.
I would say it's pretty close to the end at this point.
Oh,
You're
great.
finishing up. She took a minute to walk around, check things, look at the back.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna follow.
So we see everything that she sees, yeah?
Pretty much, unless you,
Yeah.
maybe not the little details and things, not the thing in the middle of the courtyard. You haven't seen the back cabinet yet that Beezaura saw.
The dried blood, the footsteps.
Yes.
They turn to smudges towards this cabinet in the back, but there's nothing in it. And they just stop.
Do the darts on the ground look an awful lot like the ones that I've been hit with
That
before?
Norm shot, they look exactly like that.
Can I tell from where they hit where Norm may have been standing?
It looks like, based on the angle that they stick into the
Yeah,
wood.
just because I've seen the way he shoots them, can I determine?
It looks
where
like they were coming from the door into the cabin. Like the person who shot them is standing in the doorway or about there.
And the bloody footprints do seem smaller than Norm's, yes?
Definitely smaller than Norm's, yes. Although Norm was much larger than the other two ones that you fought.
okay.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely smaller than Norm's.
There's nothing. I'm gonna go to the cabinet. I don't see anything.
Orba,
Yeah,
you
with,
don't.
with detect magic. can
Orba
I-
walks in the room.
Yeah, take a real close look.
Two things glow very brightly.
Okay.
The sculpture in the center.
Sure.
And not the cabinet itself, but there seems to be some kind of light peeking through the cabinet, like in the crack where the two doors meet.
Where the two doors meet.
Like so the cabinet has these two doors that
Right.
go open like this. So if you have it
If it's
closed, there's a
shut.
small slit in the middle, and there's only she can see this.
Okay.
Because it's the light of detect magic, not an actual light.
Right.
And what school?
Conjuration.
Conjuration, so illusions, right?
Can I call Jillian over to the sculpture? Jillian,
Yes.
if you look at this very closely, you see that cabin in the courtyard?
How did you see that? And she goes over to his desk and she takes the magnifying glass.
She old.
And she comes over.
Nice.
Yes.
It's the same symbol from outside.
Symbol on the bridge.
Exactly.
Ooh, when I hear them say that, can I go look at the bridge again? Mm-hmm. And is it lighting?
Yes.
Okay.
You go outside.
Yeah. Great.
Are there any books in this room?
There are. On the shelves and things?
Can I look at them for a GGG?
You do not find a copy of GGG.
What other books do we
There's
have?
a number of books on the shelves, and as you sort of quickly browse through them, they appear to be entirely works of fiction. Most of them children's picture books.
From, what's her name?
Not all by the same author.
Okay.
There's one called The Silly Basilisk by Eugene Mox.
Wow.
I'd love to read that.
There's one called I Am the First of Many by Cheyenne Braccio. You can get this later.
Yeah, like that. I was like, yeah.
There's one called A Wild and Endless March of Time by Jasper Delwile. There's one called The Mystery of Finlock Forest by Desmond Fristy. And there's one called Whispers in the Cistern, Book 1 by Genevieve Riley. The
All of that
fiance
for
of
Kindle
Samuel
or Nook.
I would like to take a copy of the Genevieve Riley one. Just
Whispers in the Cistern.
Just open it up, see if there's anything of note inside.
You don't see anything of note, and you give it a quick look through at some of the chapters and stuff. It seems like kind of young adult fiction, kind of a coming of age story.
I'm going to take a copy of it. Sure. And Mysteries of Finlock Forest. Can I open that one up?
Sure. And that one, even though it sort of has Mysteries of Finlock Forest as a title, it seems very fantastical. Like it's a picture book, and there's pictures of like big creatures in the woods and things, sort of a Where the Wild Things Are-esque kind of book.
I'm going to take that one too. Sure. I want to pick up. Can I pick up one of the things in the ground? One of the
one of the little thorns. Yeah.
And sort of hold it up and just go. This looks a great deal like an attack created by one of those plant beasts.
That combined with the shards outside, we're fairly confident that one of them has come through here.
I would actually.
Okay.
Yes, at least one, maybe more.
So either they followed us, or they're trying to block off this path, or possibly Josco is doing something they don't want him to be doing.
Well,
In general,
at the
you mean,
moment,
like-
who cares why? Let's try to locate Josco. Jillian, there's magical presence between the two doors of the cabinet, as well as magical presence at that small gazebo
Where
inside,
the symbol is, yes.
and at the bridge. We're missing a puzzle here.
Do you think that cabin the gazebo represents this place.
It doesn't look like the same shape to me, but I would find it hard to believe if those two things were not related.
Hearing that, can Erland reopen the cabinet?
Sure. There's nothing inside.
Is the whole thing glowing, or is it just...
There, you look into it now that the doors are open, and like the back panel, like in a square, is glowing that conjuration color.
Interesting. Can I go and try to see if my hand will fit through it? Or go through the...
Through it?
Yeah, through the panel?
Oh, yeah. So you go up and touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go up, and you place your hand on it, and as you do...
I'm gonna be right behind Orba.
Yeah. It's like solid, and you give it a little pressure, and it sinks in a little bit, and it feels like it's like forming around your fingers almost. It's like a goo or a goop around your hand.
Careful, Orba. I'm gonna keep my hand on
And
it.
I don't feel any air on the other side yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna be holding Orba as well.
Am I getting any kind of idea of what this spell might be as I'm interacting with it?
You've never seen anything like this.
Okay, I'm just fascinated. Orba's gonna...
Does it look anything like when I tree stride?
No, it doesn't have that kind of look to it.
I'm gonna keep pushing.
Orba.
I'm still holding.
Careful.
Orba. Do you know what this is?
No, I don't.
Come-
Am I feeling any kind of pressure of it pulling me or anything?
It's definitely not pulling you.
Can I give it like a pull back
You
to see
pull
if
back,
I'm willing?
and there's a little bit of a resistance, but it doesn't feel like it's locked around you. It just feels like it feels thick, like you're pulling your hand out of like mud or something.
Do I recognize that?
Nope.
Orba?
Okay, I'll pull out for a second.
And as you do, it sort of like it holds onto your fingers, and then, and as it pulls away, it kind of and warps back. And after a little bit, it settles, and again, it looks plain like it was originally.
Are you capable of dispelling magic, Graven?
Not now.
Could it possibly be him in a different form?
Well, I don't think it could be him in a different form. I just stuck my hand all the way through it.
I certainly hope not.
What I was hoping that it would be some kind of a false wall, but I couldn't feel any air on the other side. As far as I went elbow deep, I couldn't feel anything.
Well, this is where the trail of blood stops. If he kept bleeding, unless there was a healing potion in this cabinet before it was emptied, he is here because there's nowhere else he could have gone. He would have tracked his blood.
Do I smell anything? I've had enough of that being used against me.
Okay.
Smell.
Smells like shit.
16.
When you bent down to pick up one of the spines, it has kind of a familiar musk to it. Yeah.
But not near the thing that Orba just put her hand into.
That's hard to tell. It's kind of around in the room. Kind of has that.
But like it, so when I got closer to the thorns, that got a little stronger. But now that I went back, when I backed away, it's dissipated a bit. So it didn't get stronger closer to the.
No, not that you could tell. No.
Is this thing big enough to get a person through it?
Oh,
You
definitely.
could crawl through it.
You could crawl through it. Yes.
Graven,
What?
why don't you hold me and I'll look into this.
No, Erland, I'm telling you, I stuck my hand over a foot through and I didn't feel anything on the other side. I don't want you to just go head first into this muck.
Well then, pull me back if we have a problem.
How long can you hold your breath?
I'll do this and then pull me back.
What?
Oh, fuck's sake. Okay.
Anyone have any better ideas?
Why can't I do it then?
Because
like something on a rock and throw the rock in there.
Well, we're not gonna learn anything. We need to know what's on the other side. We know that you can traverse through it. We need to know what's on the other side of it, and I don't want to just jump in blindly.
That is literally jumping in blindly.
No, I'm saying several of you even hold me. I'll look in, see if anything happens.
And what if someone's standing there with a sword and they cut your head off?
It's your head.
If that's what he wants to do, then
I agree.
I'll help.
Otherwise, we're stuck here. No?
Okay, so this is the symbol for bringing you back?
And I'll have my hands like this. If I do this, pull me back quickly and fast.
So you're sticking your head in, not
I'm just going to stick my head in.
But your head's not going to go far
It's
enough.
not going to go far enough.
Kick your legs, Erland, like a fish.
We hold your legs and you
That's
kick
it.
them.
That's it. Kick
Right.
3 times.
Okay.
And we'll bring you out.
If I stop kicking, pull.
Fine.
Okay. Orba's gonna give you her dagger just to have in your hand as you go through this freaking thing.
Well,
I don't
like
know.
quarterstaff, I guess.
Well, yeah, but your quarterstaff's gonna be in the
A
muck.
dagger is
That's true.
shorter.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so.
I take his foot that has the ring on it.
Oh my god.
So,
the dagger ready to cut it off.
So you gave me the dagger, yeah?
Yeah.
So Erland's holding the dagger.
I grab the same leg as Graven.
And I'm gonna sort of
Julian, seeing that everyone's got his legs, is sort of.
I'm gonna go like elbows in, so my legs are behind me.
I'm gonna hold like. Do you have like a belt, belt and thigh, like?
He doesn't have a belt. He's wearing like a robe.
Hold his cloak.
Right.
You have your cloak on, right?
Yeah, he's got a cloak.
Yeah, hold the cloak. I'll hold the leg.
I kind of want to get. Can I get my head in so that I can kind of see
Sure, like on your hands and
going
knees.
through? Yeah, so that if anything, I see something is weird happening, I can
Perhaps
stop.
bend your knees that I might have something to pull back on.
All right. Yes. And if I stop kicking,
yes.
We know.
If I get kicked in the forehead, you're coming back out.
Let's go.
All right. Good luck, Erland.
And otherwise, we give you 30 seconds, and if you don't do anything, we're pulling you back anyway.
I'll stop kicking after 30 seconds regardless. Yes.
Well, if
We'll
you
give you
are
30
unable
seconds.
to kick, we're going
Okay.
to pull
Yes.
you back.
Actually, yes. 30 seconds. Yes.
Okay, go.
I'm just gonna put he's gonna put his hand up because so much.
You feel it starts to compress a little bit.
So I want to like get accustomed to what that feeling is as we're going in.
Again, it feels like you're moving through kind of a thick mud.
And I want to be doing this as quietly as possible.
Sure.
And actually, so pulling it back.
It doesn't make a sound. It's just kind of like.
Great. So yeah, it's gonna go in, and he's gonna close his eyes, take a big inhale of breath, and sort of push his face in.
And the head kind of enters in, and it goes over your eyes.
And the dagger is here.
Yep, and over your face, and you feel it kind of thick around you. And for a while, you push, and you can't you can't see anything.
Yeah.
It's black, and you sort of push through in this thick, and finally, it feels like you reach another side. It feels like something on your head is like a cool air or something.
So I want to try and move, like shimmy, so I can get there as fast as possible.
Push, and the rest of you, he's getting like kind of up to his waist at this point.
Okay, that's okay.
Let him go a little bit further.
And so, like, as my eyes crest out, I want to shoot them open so I can know what I see.
Sure. So you push, and you feel the cool air on your eyes, and you open them up, and you look, and you push a little bit further.
So I can breathe, yeah?
Yep. And you push so you can breathe.
And I want to get the dagger out.
Oh my god.
And you see a drawbridge and a castle wall and a moat. Walls of a keep. And you push a little further.
It's probably been 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I'm going to just go up to my neck, and I don't want to look around so I get good look at everything.
Yeah.
It looks exactly like
painted colorfully.
Great. I want to, in my last like 10 seconds here, I just want to bomb slave. Bomb slave.
You don't hear anything. How loud are you saying it?
Do I see anyone?
You do not. No. There's a drawbridge, a gate, and then castle walls. It's hard to see beyond that.
And we're on the other side, right?
Yep.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Safira, hold the leg, and I run back to the sculpture. Can I see what's happening?
Make a perception check. And what are you doing at this time?
I'm yelling bum slave very loud. Bum slave!
You hear it. It has kind of this echo, like
16.
No response. It looks like on the very edge of it, you see a tiny head poking out on the edge of this sculpture inside the glass case.
I can see him. I can see him in the sculpture.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna kick my legs.
Okay, and they start to pull. Pull, and immediately it makes this like sort of envelops you, and you.
Am I wet or anything?
No,
as
it
soon
like
as he comes out.
when your head pulls, it like pulls at your skin a little bit, and then it sort of lets go, and it.
Like you're pulling off a latex thing that's tight. Sorry.
Gloves. Yeah, gloves.
Gloves.
Latex gloves. Yes, it sort of makes it like a warped.
Gonna flip. So I'm on my knees. Flip my dagger. Flip the dagger. Give it to Orba.
Erland,
What is it? What's in there?
were you by that castle?
It takes you into the miniature. It's safe. We go in.
I saw him there.
So he's in there?
I don't know.
Look, I'm gonna
we
run
go
over
over
to
to
the
the-
thing.
take a
Yeah,
good
do
look
the
in
same
there if we
thing,
see
and
any
I'm walking.
movement?
It doesn't, but there's a lot of the castle that's not visible. I mean, there's an interior to the
But there's
castle.
no movement that you can
Not on the
kinda-
outside that you can see.
Did they let go of me?
What do you mean?
Did they all just let go of me to go look at this miniature?
Yeah.
Let's go. And I'm gonna run and jump small
I
into
go.
it.
I go.
Oh my god.
I saw him.
Go through.
I'm going.
I
And I go.
And I land on the other
Go
side.
through, Graven.
It's just Jillian and I?
Yep.
I'll give
Oh
a
wait,
big...
fuck our horses. Oh shoot, our horses.
Whatever.
I'm sure we tied them somewhere.
I'm going to stay on the outside. What if someone shows up here?
That's a good idea.
If someone comes in here and smashes, and she points to it, this miniature,
Yes.
are you all going to die?
I don't know. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No. I'll keep watch.
really
All
smart.
right.
She's smart.
And you go, and you feel it. Everyone's sort of feeling that tight, sort of plasticky feeling as you're sort of pushing through. And then on the other side, a fresh breath of air as you get to this, and you see the vibrant colors now up close, sort of this blindingly sort of painted walls and towers, turrets, and that's where we're going to end for the evening.
But there's so much time!
Oh my god, I saw him in the little thingy!
So we'll pick it up there.
His little head!
Just got hosted by Lord Gasimba. Thank you, Lord Gasimba.
They're used to us going to 11:30 at night.
Oh my god! Whoa! Wait, that was so cool.
So
Wait, magic.
I thought Jillian and I were gonna have like a
Link arms.
Down the tunnel we go. She's obviously the most rational one. Okay, shouldn't someone
How's she gonna communicate with us? Like knock on the glass?
We didn't say anything. I just jumped in.
It did occur to me, oh my god, what happens if someone sits on this thing while we're in here?
Sits on it.
Well, there is a glass case over it.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there. There is a glass case.
So maybe
over it.
if I were gonna live in a mini castle, I would enchant that glass case so it can't be
Wow.
broken. But I don't know if he's had that.
Oh my god, Jasko's gonna be my best friend. I can't wait. He's gonna be so cool.
Jasko's the king of his little county there. He's
Watch
like,
Jasko be dead in his little.
We don't have a secret guest
Why
next
do we
week,
always
do
have
we?
to end up dead in your imagination?
We don't have a secret
Why?
guest next week, do we?
No.
secret
Oh,
one? Oh, like
jeez
Jasko.
Louise. Oh, crap. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Who knows how long that
That's what we're going to end for this evening. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
joining.
you.
That was like a huge
Thank you so
debriefing.
much. Stump, thank you for the
So,
sub, and I
thank
think a
you
couple
so
people
much.
bit it, but I
Really
might have
appreciate
lost it. I apologize, but
Thank you to all
so
the
much.
new people who checked in. Please come back.
Yeah, friends.
That's not
Every week, we're right here.
We are.
Yes, we'll be here next Sunday, 7 o'clock. We'll be
I mean, it
back.
sounded like I was trapped here.
Yeah, that was
We'll
creepy the way he
be
said
here.
it, but
stuck
we
here.
will.
Yeah, now we have
I'm not getting up for a whole week.
You guys don't know, but we actually live in here.
Do you want to give a little guest book spiel? I don't know.
Oh yeah. I think I already said it, but if
Okay.
anybody subbed or has reached like the bit amount,
It's like 500 bits, whatever the
we
same
have
is
a
for
little
sub.
guest book at the start and the end of every stream where people who have done that and supported us, who are so lovely, they can put a little message in, a sign of support or a stupid joke, whatever you want, and we'll put it in the little guest book, and everybody gets to read them before we go live.
They bring us joy. We look at them before we
We
go
do.
live.
We read them every time before we go live. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please come back next time, and we'll pick it up there in this sort of little mystery castle.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Wow.
We'll pick it up there. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Oh,
Wait, that's so
goodness.
cool.